idea functionally what I'm doing.
Months until I'm customizing my pussy lips. I'm very excited.
For fucking the giggles.
Yo, you ain't getting a candy bar, bitch.
I have one round left. Just enough for myself.
And we're
Come back.
yeah.
Welcome.
believe
I'm
it.
back.
We're alive.
We're
It's a
back.
Christmas miracle.
It's only been a week, and okay, you know what? Really quickly, let me get that out of the way to explain this. My computer died. I tried to upgrade from my shitty Windows 8.1 to Windows 10 entirely to play Cyberpunk, because I was living in the past and I didn't know what was about to happen. We'll get to that in a second. And it's weird. I have two drives. I had two copies of an OS, and it just corrupted the whole goddamn thing. So I bought a new computer, and then that didn't work for a bit, and it turns out between me buying parts to assemble a new computer and plugging it all in, the HDMI port I used for my old PC had died. So when I thought I was an idiot because it was my first time assembling a PC and that I did something wrong, it turned out I did everything right, and it was just a freak timing incident. Goddamn HDMI crapped out, so that delayed us even further when it didn't need to. But hey, new computer, yay!
Yeah.
And now we can record our massively successful podcast that the masses have been waiting for a month.
That's true. We've gotten so much support from our community to come back.
We
And
appreciate all of
I'm
you.
so proud of you guys for pulling together and getting us back here.
Everyone clamoring for our return. We're here.
Wanting it so bad.
It's good to know that 20 out of 21 of you hung in there, and we're waiting, I'm sure, with bated breath for our return. And now we have returned, and we have literally a month's worth of news to catch up on.
Hell yeah.
But thankfully, I mean, it's a slow time. So considering the amount of time, it's not a terrible amount of news. We've had some weeks with more news than this.
Who the fuck is Elizabeth K, and why did she comment on the I bet you wonder what happened video?
Because they were excited to be listening to such a high quality podcast. Also, they may be a coworker of mine.
Oh, okay. That would explain that. Hello, Elizabeth. I just went and clicked on the profile just to see if it was like one of those spam bots that we used to get comments from, and it's
That's
clearly
true.
not.
There you go.
Cool, man. You got us
Not
one
spam bot.
viewer
Yeah.
out of your
putting-
pool of coworkers. Nice. You're doing the promotion, dude.
And you
I'm
got
putting in the
shout out,
hours.
commenter.
Hell yeah.
I want you to know that at the start of my woods run, I stepped on a landmine.
Nice.
Nice.
I think I'm at the fucking camp.
You still alive?
That's a good start. Anyway, where are we starting this bitch off? Who wants to go with a week?
I will go with longer
And
than
by
a
a
week.
week, yeah, I mean a month, yeah.
But so I explained the computer stuff, so that's done. This thing renders videos very, very fast, so hopefully I could maybe get these out quicker. I don't know. I'll see. I did a lot of things, but most of it is not really worth noting, except for a couple of things. So first is, I of course watched a bunch of movies and stuff on Netflix, and one I want to talk to you about, very importantly, is the movie Polar, starring
Where?
Mads Mikkelsen.
You haven't seen that before?
What? You've seen
That movie?
Polar?
Yeah.
That movie sucked.
Oh, I heard of this movie. I saw that it had like dog shit reviews, I think, back when I first learned of it, and then I didn't watch it.
Yeah, good.
It was all kinds of strange and weird, but I didn't mind. Oh my god, there's a fucking duo right in front of me.
Apparently, it is a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
It's Mads is
I'm
the
gonna run up
greatest
on him.
greatest assassin in the world that has ever lived. but for some reason no one knows what he looks like, and they have to track him down. His own
Yeah,
organization.
they just head-eyes me.
Nice.
Rip.
I had no armor, so it's fine.
But long story short, I mean, how good could a movie be when it opens up with a CG bird, hard cut to Steve-O getting his dick sucked? And
It's a great movie.
Steve-O's in this movie.
Yeah,
He's getting
no,
his
it's not
dick sucked.
Steve-O. It's fucking Johnny Knoxville.
Same guy.
Okay.
Same guy, basically. But yeah, it was awful. Don't
It's all right. I'm
Look,
not going
hold
to
on.
say it was good. I'm not going to defend it, but it's wonky and it's interesting.
Okay, Smoking
It
Aces.
sounds like we have a bit of a contradiction going on here.
Smoking Aces is not a good movie. This is a worse Smoking Aces.
Or not a contradiction, but rather a point of contention between the two.
It's
Richie, does
like,
it
again,
deserve its 19% score on Rotten Tomatoes?
I don't know if it deserves a 19. I'm by no reason I'm not saying it's a good movie, but it was interesting and out there. And I mean, the one chick's hot, so you know.
I really didn't want to talk about this movie more than
Wow.
5 seconds, and here I am.
What a what a positive. The one chick is hot.
Hot
Nice.
takes being given here, people.
What an incredible
a
positive.
literal hot take.
Spoiler alert: the scene with like the machine gun, like that shit was pretty cool though.
That shit was pretty cool. It's not. You can have a bad movie with some neat shit in it, but it has to be really good for you to walk away with it going like, oh yeah, that was okay.
Listen, I may be the wrong person to defend bad movies because I always find the good in some movies. So, like,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
like
you
fucking
like-
Cowboys vs. Dinosaurs, for God's sake. Like, I
Oh,
think
yeah,
that
that's
was a
even
good
worse.
movie.
That's even worse than what I was about to say.
Dude, I like
What were you-
I like Johnny Mnemonic and Buckaroo Banzai. I also watch crap movies that are bad. I didn't find anything redeeming in this one. Besides
But the thing is, you don't watch them and go, oh wow, what a good movie, even though everybody
Yeah.
else is like, oh that sucks. You watch it and you're like, oh it's so funny because it's shit.
Yeah, this one isn't really even funny. It's just kind of dull and stupid. Very vulgar too, like very schoolyard humor, which again, there's an audience for that. It's just not my thing.
I remember when I first learned of this movie. I don't remember how I learned of it. I think maybe I just saw it when I was scrolling through Netflix. And like I said, I looked up the reviews and like I watched the trailer. And even now, rereading the synopsis of the movie, like the short description on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm reminded of what I thought when I first learned of this movie, which is that it just looks like a fucking John Wick ripoff, or at least that's the way they describe it on the Rotten Tomatoes thing. I don't know if it plays out like that when you're watching it, but like they didn't do anything to really make it sound like anything other than like a budget John Wick ripoff.
I could take a moment and explain in what ways it is and which way it isn't, but I'm really done with talking about Polar. So
No, yeah, that's fine because that's okay.
instead I will talk about Tenet, which is an awesome fucking movie. And
Yeah,
is
don't spoil
sick.
nothing about it because I kind of want to watch it, but I
I-
just haven't yet.
I have to mention the one thing I didn't like about the movie.
All right, well, I'm gonna take my headphones
No,
off.
no, no,
just to
trust. It
spoil
has nothing to do with anything. I swear to you. The movie is very, very good. A lot of people say it was confusing. I didn't think it was confusing. It was pretty understandable. A lot of really cool scenes and good acting. The one thing I don't like is twice in the movie, the main character refers to himself as the protagonist. He goes, "But I'm the protagonist." And I feel like that could have been written better. And it just really annoyed me that they used that phrasing. But besides that, movie's great. Watch it. It's a visual feast and probably one of the coolest fight scenes since like the Matrix lobby scene. Levels of cool shit. And you get to see it twice. Yeah, that was great. I made a promise because between my PC exploding and me getting a new one, Christmas happened, and so people got me Christmas gifts, and most people get me games on Steam that I was unable to redeem. And the first gift I received was a very special game called Bigfoot, A game I'm not really a fan of.
How
But
can you not be a fan of Bigfoot, dude? What's wrong with it? It's you're in the woods with your friends, you have guns, and you're just hunting a fucking cryptid.
I
Like,
could
come
do
on.
that in real life right now. With you.
All right. All right.
Yeah, but like, what happens when actual Bigfoot runs at us and smashes us
Well,
like in
we
this
gotta
game?
make sure we get a flare gun. Or 20. We'll bring more than no ammo at all. How about that? Well,
Uh-oh, Brandon's gone.
uh-oh.
Brandon's like, you're bad mountain Bigfoot. I'm out.
Yeah, that's true. He'll be back. I hope.
Our internet has been spotty recently, and by ours I mean like kind of the areas. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah.
I'm getting text messages probably from he.
There was it like two nights ago where like we kept disconnecting. I got it more than him, but like we both had instances where we disconnected from our internets.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was that one time I was with you guys that just the internet went out. Hey, it wouldn't be a camel cast if everything went on.
Yeah, that's
Went right.
true.
Yeah. Not everything. Something's gotta go wrong somewhere.
I mean, the fact that we're here doing this, is indicative of something went wrong.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Um, but yeah, Bigfoot.
Great, fantastic.
Love it.
My second game, I got stuck in an infinite falling loop between two trees, and had to just wait there. And they don't give you enough goddamn ammo.
No, it's supposed to be a challenge, Anthony. If you had a lot of ammo, you would just shoot him every time you showed up, and it would just be easy.
No, it's still not easy just because you could shoot
It's
him
about
because
coordinating
his
with your
health bar
team
is
to
ridiculous.
ration out your resources to kill to kill this Bigfoot.
No,
Or
it's about
something we
throwing
don't
down
do either.
traps and
Something we don't
stabbing him
do
with a
is we
knife.
always try to murder him, but maybe we just find the campers and leave and win that way.
Yeah, but that sucks because the map's gigantic. And there's not enough to indicate what is a lost camper, I don't think. Like, you get fly buzzing, but you need to be really close, and also his totems are the same, so it's really needle in a haystack type stuff to
It's
find where corpse as.
Yeah, honestly, finding the campers is difficult for how big the map is. But
It probably is the easier way to win.
we also I don't think we play it right. Like from the big awesome guides online that I've been reading, it's like we have to
Stab him.
use the daytime to do our looting, and then at night we need to like camp up instead of like running around hunting him. Like
That's fun.
I think the AI is like drawn to you at night.
Richie, I'll be real with you. I don't want to be a pro MLG meta build player of Bigfoot. I want to go on the game
Like
and kind of make
like
fun of it with my friends.
there's a reason like we get the tents and we could set up campfires is because I believe like when you sit in that one place and you chill at night, he comes to you more often, and that's what you're supposed to use like the traps and shit for. And I don't know.
No,
I think
you've
the
clearly done a
AI
lot of
needs
reading.
some work because I feel like he ignores the traps with meat on them all the fucking time.
Yeah, that one time was funny. We all had our lights off. We were like hiding 10 feet
He
away
runs
behind
past
stuff.
everything
It
and
went
just comes and
past
starts
all
beating
the
me.
disguised meat traps and just grabs you and like choke slams you.
Well, I am a meat trap.
It's true. That was your name in college, I believe.
Yeah. Or maybe we should be using like I'm always like, yo, save the traps because we'll lay ambushes for him. But maybe we should place the traps around the map
Yeah,
with the
'cause
meat and disguise them because maybe when he's not around players, he'll actually go to the trap with the meat on it.
yeah, I think
Like
that's a
maybe
good
the AI is
idea.
set up that way and like it will do the damage to him and traps do a ton. Like yeah, we won't get to like shoot him for like the 3 or so seconds that he's in it, but maybe that damage is minuscule. Maybe it's just about getting him in the traps to
Well,
take the trap damage.
yeah, because honestly, even when you do trap him, that animation in which he's trapped lasts like 2 seconds. You really
Yeah,
can't
that's what I'm
load up that
saying.
much damage.
So maybe like we're just not playing it right, you know?
But beyond that, I played a good game called Ace Combat 7. That game's fantastic. It looks great. It is hammy, stupid storytelling that is taken outrageously seriously, which I love. And nice little tech tree unlock system for my autism. And, cool ass jets shooting down other cool ass jets in dope ass dogfights. It's a fun ass game.
But it
Um,
doesn't have Bigfoot in it.
it could. Maybe there's probably at least one pilot called Bigfoot.
But it
That's
doesn't have the actual Bigfoot in it.
You don't know about that actual pilot. He could be anything. They carry thousands of pounds of bombs. They could carry a Bigfoot. Just saying.
All I'm saying is we got 45 achievements in Bigfoot, and we got to get them.
No, we don't. I'm not an achievement hunter in games I like. I'm definitely not gonna 100% complete Bigfoot. It's not happening. But yeah, that was my week really.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go because I mean maybe I'll try to make it a little longer as we wait for Brandon. Has he messaged you at all?
Yeah, he said that the internet is taking a shit.
Okay.
And I told him that we're gonna march on, but come back to us.
All right, my week slash month. Um, pretty simple. Just kind of been working. I started school this week, so I'm doing that now.
Nice.
Um, I've been stuck in a self-imposed quarantine, which might be coming to an end soon, not sure.
That's good.
Um, on the game front, what have I been playing? The answer to that is the answer I give every fucking time. I've been playing a little bit of Tarkov with Brandon BB, trying to get up there in the levels. I'm playing, I always dip into Total War because I just can't stop playing that game for some reason.
I mean, it's a pretty good game. They're
Yeah, it's
constantly
good,
doing
but I have
defensive
like way
stuff.
more hours in it than I should for a Total War game.
That's could be said of many a video game.
See, like having the hours I have in Dota is like fine, I get that, but like the hours I have in this single player fucking game, uh, I don't know, it's just not me. I'm not digging it, but I can't stop. Um, Speaking of Dota, I've been playing a lot more Dota. I've been getting back into that hole. I'm trying to drag Brandon with me, and he's trying not to get dragged. Uh, we've been playing with this group of people, and sometimes I think like we know Life Dota. I'm gonna fucking rat Brandon out right now, and he's got 3.6 uh K hours in the game, and I got 2.2. Yeah, we play with this guy who has 6,000 hours into this game.
Wow.
Like, I think we know life this game. Like, holy fuck, this guy literally doesn't like stop playing this game. Like, I like Dota, but goddamn, 6,000 hours.
I can't even like begin to quantify that.
That's a total of 250 days
Yeah, that's nearly an entire year.
of just Dota.
No, I don't think even like games I like I put in hours like that much. I don't know
Dota is
what
easily
drives him.
the highest hours I put into a game.
No.
Total War is getting fucking close, dude. I'm at like 1.1K hours.
Jesus Christ.
Nice.
It's literally all I do. Um,
You
I'm
got
playing
problems.
more of the 40K mobile game Uh, again, it's not necessarily good, but I enjoy it. Um, I'm getting better at it. I'm starting to get cards. You get cards pretty easy. The problem is as you climb the ranks is that some people who do spend the money and like, are whales and shit just have their cards so high fucking level that you don't even have a chance. But
Yeah,
I'm getting like legendaries and shit
oh, nice.
pretty frequently. I think they upped the chance to get legendaries because like there was like an update and then after that I got like 6 legendaries like in a fucking row and I'm like, yo, this never happens. So that was cool. I've been wanting to branch out and play more because like there's more games I want to play. Like I still need to play Cyberpunk. I put only 4 hours into Cyberpunk. And it's like I gotta play this game. I bought this game. I don't care if there's like it's like bad, good. I need to experience the game. I've been wanting to like restart and play Baldur's Gate again because I never like beat the early access area.
Mm,
But like it's like I really want the other classes to come out, but they're not putting them out yet.
those bastards. It's weird with how much
But
money
they're
they
they're,
put
they're
into it.
putting out a yeah, no, like I believe they're dropping the third patch. Dropped and or are dropping, I'm not sure. But and like they're doing a lot of like balance changes and bug fixes and like that's all good. Like that makes me want to play the game too, even without the new classes. Because the game was really rough launching. But yeah, I just gotta do it, dude. It's really hard for me to start games now.
Start games?
Start, finish. Like if it's not Dota or Total War, dude, it's hard.
I don't know. I've always been pretty good. I think what saves me and what kind of like screws you is that a lot of games, like you guys play a lot more multiplayer games, and there's a lot more like battle pass type stuff going on. So it's not just that you have to play some games, you have to play all of the games. Like they're literally competing for your time, and so like a single player game shows up, and it's like, yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but see, the issue with me is it makes a lot less sense because there'll be times where I'm not playing those games, literally doing nothing, and I could play those games, and I stare at them, and I'm like, man, I could play this. I can click that play button, play that right now, and I don't, and I just sit there and do nothing.
That's a you problem, mate. And
No,
then
I've been there. I've done
Yeah,
that too.
that's called depression.
Well, no, I don't think. I mean, it is also depression, but there's also a level of it where it's like it's very easy to look at your list of games and go, oh, I'm not in the mood for that. I'm not in the mood for that. I'm not in the like you want to play a game, but not specifically any of the ones you have. I don't know. It's chasing the dragon, man. This is
Yeah.
our addiction. My real addiction.
I have made a commitment to attempt to sell my Warhammer models. Yeah, that's big news.
Does Brandon know?
Yes, I've told him.
Oh, well, no, that's good. Because if he missed that, that would have been nuts.
No, I've told him. See, sell is the keyword, not throw out like an idiot.
Uh, my soul is clear. My
It
slate is clean.
shouldn't be.
my
Is he
conscience.
back? He's back.
Fuck's just happened, but I fixed it.
All right.
Richie's telling us how he's about to throw out all of his Warhammer models.
No, sell.
Not
Sell.
about that. You can throw them out. He's not you. Come on.
He just not even a minute ago, he just said my soul is clear and I'm like, "No, no it's not."
It is
It's
though.
just so silly. You shouldn't have done that. I will always say that.
always say too. Don't worry. It was strange, but it's okay. We're past it. We're
I could have
beyond it.
donated them to my closet.
It felt very good, so that you could sell them now. I see what
No.
this is. I see what this is.
Dude,
Yeah.
for years, I have Matt's crons in my fucking closet. And guess what? When I'm selling everything, they're staying in the fucking closet.
So that worst case, you could fall back on playing
God.
crons.
When did like Matt join the army? Like how old was he?
Let's not talk about the passage of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to discuss that.
Yeah, well, just a rough number. Like what? Like
12.
6 years?
Yeah,
Sure.
it was something like that.
Let's just say 6 years. For 6 years, those have been sitting in my closet.
Stop.
So
Stop it.
So when are the crons gonna come out loud and proud?
they're there and they're gonna stay there. It's difficult. It's difficult trying to sell these things off. Not really a great aftermarket value on.
I don't know. I don't know how long you've been talking about this since I've been gone, but just to pitch my 2 cents in, when he told me that he was selling his shit off, I was honestly kind of shocked
Oh, I am too.
because I thought he was gonna. I said this to him at the time, but to repeat it for the podcast and for the others who don't know this, I mentioned, or I had said to him that I really honestly thought he was gonna be like the last bastion of 40K like
Among
holdout
the group.
to like get us to play, you know? And then he was like, "No, I'm selling my shit," and I was like, "Holy
Dead.
fuck!"
I've said I've wanted to play for like fucking ever, but no one else does.
I mean, that's true.
Well, okay. In our defense, we can't hang out to do this stupid podcast. let
Yeah,
alone-
yeah. I mean, you know, now yes, but I've mentioned it before. The fucking Rhone apocalypse.
No,
We
that's
did
true.
one. We played the one game. The last game I played was the one game we played just to try out the new edition. You remember that, Anthony?
Yes, I do.
I mean, granted, I don't feel necessarily like playing Warhammer 40K because the game kind of gives me fucking like an aneurysm now looking at it.
Yeah, I think that. All right. I mean, that's like kind of a news story, but I wanted to talk about how I don't understand how GW continues to fail upward to new dizzying heights.
All I know is that apparently both the armies I own are like
Top tier now.
potentially meta now, and that almost makes me want to play even less. To be completely honest,
That was one of the reasons
Just-
I faded out
just-
of it, because it was like Tau were challenging and then they were easy, and then I switched to
Yeah.
Guard, and then Guard became very easy, and I was like, ah.
there's numerous reasons why I stopped enjoying playing 40K, but like the idea that just because my armies were bad is the only reason. The fact that they could become or are supposedly becoming meta, the idea that that would make me want to play more, I think, is actually kind of the opposite of what it would be, because it's the same issue, you know. I want balance. I pine for those old like 5th edition days where everything was fun and like
It wasn't
it was kind of on
balanced
us
either.
too, because it was kind of on us too, because we weren't running like Giga Tryhard lists all the time and shit like that back in 5th. But like, it was just more fun, you know.
I mean,
when
there's always gonna be like tier lists. There's always gonna be meta. Some things are just gonna be better than others, but I understand the point, and it did get ridiculous in 6th or 7th, whatever the fuck it was.
I mean, first of all, the power gap once like 6th and 7th and shit rolled around, because like the power gap was massive in a way where I don't really felt I didn't feel like the power gap a power gap like that existed before those editions,
No, yeah,
which
definitely.
pushed us into not wanting to play.
Because, yeah, the main thing was, like, even if your army wasn't meta or, like, top tier, you could still play it. But there was that, like, one point, I think it was, like, mid-6th, when, like, everything suddenly had ignores cover, and you just couldn't play Dark Eldar. You just couldn't.
Like,
It didn't
the
matter
one-
how good they were or how bad you were. It was,
Poor
like,
Franco.
you would
I
just
remember the
ignore
time.
their fucking entire build.
There was more to it. Like, hindsight's 2020. I think there was more to it than just the rules becoming shitty. I also think like our terrain back then wasn't super great. Like we honestly, if I think about it, even with the penis hills and stuff like that, our table setups were pretty much just shooting galleries, to be completely honest. So everyone who ran the meta shit, like our resident Tau and Eldar players, kind of just had like free reign of the table, in my opinion, because we didn't have a lot of line of sight blocking terrain. When we started playing Infinity, that changed because we had those sick ass buildings and shit. And I remember when we started playing Infinity with that terrain, I used to say to myself, like, I wish we had this for 40k, because it would have been nice to like maneuver around this with 40k armies and shit like that.
City
But
fight.
the rules also played a huge part in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember just like trying desperately not to want to fall out because I still had a decent army. I was Space Marines. I was Blood Angels, and they were still all right.
Space Marines
they
are always balanced. They never won't be.
Because
Yeah,
yeah,
they were
they're the
never-
standard.
I mean, Blood Angels got a bit more shafted because they weren't just vanilla Marines. They weren't as loved for some reason, and that will always baffle me. But I just remember playing with Rich. He'd bring out his whatever fucking sun cannon,
Wraith Knight.
and my entire army was unable to do anything to it. I would literally had to bring out the Land Raider Redeemer, which technically I wasn't even supposed to be able to
It's
fucking
a
get.
Spartan tank. It was a Forge World thing.
Oh yeah, Spartan tank. Spartan tank.
Well, that was honestly I guess we are talking about this now. We'll get back to weeks. Um,
Yeah.
But
We're on a
Is this-
tangent.
is this
We
the
don't gotta talk
Warhammer?
more about it. I was just talking about selling my shit off, but
But
I mean, we're here now, man.
We're here,
Fuck
we might
it,
as well
whatever.
keep
Can
going.
of worms, and I still only had a chance of bringing that thing down. It wasn't even guaranteed. I would try everything. I tried dreadnoughts, my fucking librarian dreadnoughts, my my fucking venerable dreadnoughts. God, it's been so long I can barely remember half the shit. And then if I even tried fucking the things that had the most strength to it, like the best weapons, they were all Marines because my army was a fucking assault army, basically. Sun cannon.
it was rough. Wraith Knights when they first dropped were very rough because they
I'm
were
like,
very busted.
I'm just not having fun at this point. I'm
Because they
like,
weren't
"What's the
vehicles.
point?"
They were monstrous creatures. That was the problem.
I'm just
So, like
not
your
having fun.
las cannon didn't really matter because it had like 10 fucking wounds and toughness 8.
That was a problem. That was a problem for a really long time, though.
yeah,
Which
when all
they've
of a sudden like apocalypse units were just on regular tabletop, and now literally apocalypse units are just on regular
Now
tabletop.
I think the whole like vehicle monstrous creature thing has been kind of put to bed because now all vehicles have like a monstrous creature stat line and like weapons have damage values now. So I think it's a little more balanced in that regard for that. But when it first fucking drops, nah, dude, like Wraith Knights, even Riptides, dude, they were fucking retardedly
Oh,
I
yeah,
OP.
they're
remember being
scary.
like, "Rich, don't take this," and you were like, "Nah, man, it's in my book. I can take it."
Well,
You
in
were
my
Listen,
defense,
he's got to get that
dude,
W. He's got to
you
get
were
that
well,
W,
it's not
Rob.
about the
Talk about it.
W. It's
No,
not
it was
about the
about the
W.
W.
It's I spent
It was about the W.
like $13 on a model. I'm gonna fucking use
Talk
it.
about it.
Got to get the W.
Listen, all right. Even the Wraith Knight wasn't just the problem. Like Serpent Shields, Wave
Oh, don't get me
Serpents,
wrong.
like
Serpent shields were getting
um,
your wave serpents dead. Were I would fucking melt it in the ass.
I didn't
Blow
run it
out
at
the
the
fucking melt
time. Yeah,
units, and it wouldn't die.
yeah.
I'm
I
like, that's
didn't.
bullshit.
Again, I didn't run it at the time, but Wind Rider hosts were very fucking OP back then. Like, trust me, you didn't have to deal with like fucking 30 re-rolling shots of rending on sixes jet bikes that were jinking with a 4-up re-rollable cover.
No, I
Like,
just had to deal with normal jet bikes and the massive wave serpents, and then the D fucking sun cannon.
Serpent shields were always the big sticking point for me.
Well, because your army lives on the cover.
It wasn't just that, to be completely honest. Like, yes,
And
serpent
then
shields
you
fuck
guys
me.
didn't get it. I think that was the biggest thing for me too. You guys did not get it, which is
The problem for me, it was that Serpent Shields fucked me specifically. I just hated them from a balance perspective because I didn't feel like they made sense. Like here I am. I was thinking about this recently, actually. It's really funny that we're talking about this. I don't know why. I was doing something else and 40K just came to my fucking brain. And I was thinking about how like Serpent Shields and I was of this opinion even back then. I'm pretty sure that like they just never made sense to me in the first place because Eldar were always inherently somewhat more tanky than Dark Eldar. That was always the point. Like Dark Eldar were supposed to be the army that was kind of squishy and lived off like tricks and weird shit, but then were supposed to hit like a truck. Whereas Eldar were like kind of like that, but not to such an extreme where they were a little more tanky innately than Dark Eldar were, and therefore, in my opinion, should have hit a little less fucking hard. And when that book came out, they were just like both. They were like giga tanky, and they had all the fucking firepower, and it made no sense to me. Serpent shields were the kind of thing.
Oh no.
Did we lose him?
Codex and not give it to
Oh,
Eldar.
no, you cut out there.
Did
for
you
a
lose
bit.
me? What happened? Did I cut out?
You cut
A
out
little
for a
bit.
Yeah, just for a sec. You're good.
How do I sound right now?
Good.
All right.
Okay. What I was saying is, Serpent shields were the kind of thing where I honestly felt like it would have made more sense if that was in the Dark Eldar book, because here's my dog shit armor. Give me like a weird little thing I can pay points for that's like, oh, I turn a pen into a glance, but you're gonna glance me a lot anyway because my armor sucks ass and I'll probably still die. You know what I mean? Like that would have been a neat little thing, but instead they gave it to Craft World Eldar with their already really solid like armor values, front facing on Wraith Serpents. And it just never made any fucking sense to me.
Yeah, it was.
And then you could shoot them like a gun with a fucking absurd ignores cover profile, which I believe was what, like strength
7, I believe.
Was it 7 at
Yeah.
first?
I think it was 7.
Are you serious? Didn't they nerf it to like 6?
Maybe, I don't know, but
Oh.
it was 7 like D6 shots or something with
You're just
ignores
so
cover.
stupid. I never understood Serpent Shields. I used to suck Phil Kelly's dick up and down, work the shaft, cradle the balls. That guy was awesome. And then for some reason he thought Serpent Shields were a good idea, and I was like, this guy is not infallible. He's got some fucking problems in his rules writing.
He's got a fetish for Eldar, but not the dark
I
elements.
think Phil Kelly's
did have a-
Phil
he did have a
Kelly
fetish
writing
for
Eldar was just to be like, wow, the Tau book is fucking stupid. I'm gonna make something more stupid. Because notice
maybe.
after
He
that,
just
the
wants a dick
codexes
riding.
fucking sucked. Like it was Nids and Space Marines after that, and Space Marines was like okay, but Nids was terrible.
The problem is, like, Phil Kelly was hailed as a god before that book, though, because he was the one responsible for the Dark Eldar rework in the first place. And everyone looked at that shit when it came out, and everyone was like, this is amazing. Because it was. It was such a huge, like, upgrade from what Dark Eldar used to be, not just, like, aesthetically, but rules-wise, too. And then he fucked up massively as time went on.
You either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Fucking Phil Kelly, dude.
I mean, we make jokes that like, God, did we hate Mad Ward? And now we look at some of the new stuff and we're like, man,
Bring back Matt Ward. Let
Yeah,
him write
Matt-
every book. The fluff will be shit, but the rules will be awesome.
in my opinion, the fluff is shit right now.
Is it? It's not that bad.
I don't know.
I honestly don't know much about the lore going on right now. I do know I just hate the entire premise of Primaris Marines.
Sure do.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
fucking stupid.
Agreed.
I
We
don't.
took Marines and we made them bigger and better. So now there's Super Marines.
These Stormcast Turtles are selling a lot, so we'll put them in your 40K as well.
That's always how it works, though. That's why Stormcast Eternals are a thing in the first place.
Yep.
They're Space Marines in fantasy.
Space Marines.
Space.
Boys, we're doing this massive overhaul of fantasy. We're pushing the setting forward, and we're essentially making a brand new game from the ashes. How do we sell models? I have an idea. People love Space Marines. Put them in. Do it.
Oh god. And then I don't know. The rules changes are also like insane to me, because I mean it was already getting a little ridiculous with all the supplemental books, and then the Force Org bullshit where it's like take the units you're gonna take now with extra special rules, and now you have like a
That shit was
points-
always so fucking stupid, though. I
It
always
was.
hated that.
but
was
now
so
it's
dumb.
like I think it's worse because at least with that it had some form of structure, and you could be like, okay, these units have this or they don't have this.
I
And now
all
it's
right.
like spend point, get special rules.
I've
Sometimes,
been thinking
always.
about this, and by thinking about this, I mean kind of recently, but not, and also like right now. Maybe when it first came out, it was objectively bad, but do you think as it goes on and they continue that system, you just think we're old and like we're unwilling to change from our force chart, and
No.
maybe
Fuck no.
like it is like okay, but we just refuse to see it
No.
as
I
okay?
thought
I really don't.
Allies was a big change, and that was the tightest shit. I am all down with change, but
Like when it comes
Allies,
to like the battalions and all that stuff that like Warhammer has now in Age of Sigmar, like is it really just bad, or are we just like not used to it
I
and
like
refuse to get used to it?
I like 40k back when it was just here's your codex, okay? Here are the units. There's point values associated with the units. There's options for each unit that will cost you more points depending on what you want to give them. Build your fucking army. Here's the basic like force org that you kind of have to stick to. Build your army from these options. Cool. I don't like it when they're like, hey, if you take these specific things, especially when they're like meta shit, and it's like, here's the stuff that you know you're going to take anyway. So just say that it's this like battalion, and you're going to get like these special rules, and we're literally just going to buff your army list for taking the things you were going to take in the first place. That's fucking stupid.
let's also
So
wait.
I
Hold
don't
on,
know
hold on.
how 40K developed it, but I know with Age of Sigmar, they make you pay points to take the battalions. Like,
Yeah,
do you think that
I
fixes
mean,
it
that's
in a
better.
way?
no,
I think that's better. I
yeah,
still
that
don't
makes
think
more
I like
sense.
it, but it's better.
But I mean, 40k is at this point. You know how stupid Tau are right now? Crisis suits are goddamn worthless because of their ballistic skill, and now volume of fire is the king of the thing, like shot volume and shot placement. So now people are just taking battalions where you could have more HQs. So there's no crisis suits. There's only crisis suit commanders. It's like literally the same thing but different, and the battalions enable that. If it was a regular top-down force org, that wouldn't be possible, but it enables it just by making your force org weird. Like I don't like it because I don't understand it. It's very easy to understand. I don't like it because it's stupid and it goes against the spirit of what you're trying to accomplish. It's how
I
do
would
I
even be
fit
fine.
more bullshit? How do I like making generalist lists, and it's literally impossible now because you could give out special rules whenever you want, and Force Org no longer makes sense. How do you balance against anything where a guy could roll up with like 20 HQs and nothing else on the table, while the next guy has 80 platoons of infantry? Like, how do you make a list?
I do prefer the game when it was just a basic force org, and I just had I had to use my own little creativity to build my list based on my options around a force org that I knew my opponent had to use as well, and like that was nice. I'm even fine with saying keep all that weird shit. Like what's that? What are those things called that you like spend points on? Stratagems or some shit like
Yeah,
that?
stratagems. Yeah.
Yeah, and you get those like weird abilities where it's like I don't even know if it's still a thing with Grey Knights, but just to give an example, it was like, oh, I'll spend this many points, and you can just throw a unit bolt ammunition for like one round of shooting or some shit like
Yeah.
that. Like I'm fine with keeping stuff like that in the game if they got rid of that dumb like battalion shit
Yeah,
and
you know
just
what?
gave me basic force org. I get to use my own creativity based on my options and the force org that everyone else at the fucking table has to use to make my list.
That's a good
That
point.
would
I
be
think all of these are okay in a vacuum, but you have all of them together on top of also, hey, Apocalypse is sticking the tip of its dick into the general rule set.
well, did they get rid of that? Is that still a thing?
No, there's still Lords of War and crazy shit like that.
Yeah, no, there are
Yeah.
D weapons, I believe, but like D weapons aren't as scary as they used to be because like I don't believe there's like instant death anymore, so like they don't just instant kill whatever they hit.
Okay.
Um I haven't really kept up on the rules of 40K, but like I know with the changes to like vehicles having wounds and like diminishing stat lines based on wounds, I think apocalypse level stuff got more balanced. I could be wrong, could be still horribly imbalanced, but I feel like it fixed itself out.
I'm really not like super up on the state of 40k game balance because we haven't played in fucking forever and I don't really make a habit of reading 40k rules nowadays. I only know that you sent me a video that was like Tarkov and Nids or Tarkov. Holy fuck, Dark
Wow.
Eldar and Nids. Are they the new meta? And I was like, very interesting. And then I stopped paying attention.
Tarkov is basically a Dark Eldar simulator, so I understand,
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
especially with the cultists.
But to bring it back to my week, it's difficult to sell this shit off because there's not that much of a market for the aftermarket stuff.
It's a niche hobby.
I think you can. You just have to bundle a bunch of shit.
I've talked to Brandon about this a bit.
You're not gonna get
I
nearly what you
recently,
paid for it.
like last week, I've been like emailing different game stores to see if they'd be interested in taking it off my hands. For a little something something, and I found one place that had some interest. So I went there and I was talking with some guys and they were interested in some of my stuff. I've yet to hear back. So hopefully that does come through at some point. And then the other half of it, I'm probably just there's a place, I think it's Frontline Gaming. They buy used 40K shit. So I think I'm just gonna attempt to pawn off everything on them. It's basically like a 40K pawn store.
That's really
And
interesting.
that might be what I want. And I've also this is new. I've elected to get rid of almost all. I'm going to be keeping like 3 decks of my Magic cards. I'm also going to be getting rid of those.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm also getting rid of a lot of my magic. Too.
Holy fuck, the death of magic as we know it.
No, I'm keeping my werewolves. I'm keeping my Eldrazi, and I'm keeping one of my EDH decks. My angel deck. The rest I'm
Wow.
just getting rid of. So we could still play. I'll have decks for every occasion, but I just don't need the massive amount I have already.
Wow. Times they are changing.
Well, hopefully when the Rhone apocalypse is over, we could actually start doing things in person again,
Yeah, I think that's a real thing. Is it now? It looks more like wasted space because we went from playing sometimes multiple a week to once a week to like half a year plus now of never seeing each other. As soon as we start hanging out again, it'll be like, oh yeah, this is fun, and we all have kind of this weird gentleman's agreement that the new cards are bullshit, so we haven't bought any of them or made decks with them. So
I have a
until
few new cards.
until
like,
there's until the second arm race begins,
No,
and it
I
may.
can't.
It may.
Listen, the point of me selling off some of my stuff is I kind of need money right now,
Oh, there you go.
so I will not be starting a new arms race.
You're gonna sell your magic. You're gonna sell all your 40K, and you're gonna invest it in something far more stable, like Bitcoin.
You took the
Obviously.
word.
New cryptocurrency. I don't know.
Workshop coin.
There you go.
It's a coin that becomes shittier year after year, but it's worth more somehow.
I did the thing I shouldn't have done because I'm trying to sell all this shit, and I totaled up the total retail cost of everything I've got, and
Oh,
I'm ashamed of
no.
myself.
Yeah, that was a bad idea.
I had to, dude, just to know what I
I know.
had and like what an accurate asking price would be.
It's
And
disgusting that even like I have a lot of shitty magic decks, and just to know that like even just one of my sleeves of decks is probably that I don't really play anymore, that have just sat in my trunk for years. They could be destroyed for all I know. That like when people ask me about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's worth like $1,000, and I know I'm lowballing it like extremely.
Yeah,
I will wrap myself out here. And honestly, compared to some people, this is probably chump change. But
Right.
the total cost of my Warhammer 40K shit was $3,800.
That ain't bad.
Who
Ain't
are
bad.
you talking to?
Ain't bad.
No, I don't think that's bad. Look, I'm also into like firearms and other crazy things where it's like night vision is 2K and I want that. So
All right, but
basically, I don't
that's a lot
understand.
different than Plastic Men.
I don't understand the value of $1 is what I'm saying. Games have ruined my abject sense of value.
So
No level-headed individual that's not in this stupid nerd shit like us would look at a trunk of little plastic dudes and be like, "Oh yeah, I'd spend $3,800 on that shit."
we've always joked that somebody would come in and rob my, like the Xboxes and computers and all that, but they'd leave the closet full of plastic men, but the closet
Yeah.
full of plastic men was always worth more.
Yep.
Of course.
That
But
was
they
like,
would
yeah,
never
even
know.
with when I used to travel around and I had my laptop for rules, I'd be like, someone broke into my car, they would take the laptop and they would leave
Little
several.
did they know the
Yeah.
money is all in the card.
The $500 laptop is worth nothing compared to just one of those decks. Only one of those decks. I didn't do too crazy, but yeah. Oh my god.
That is my week, sirs.
Cool. Who want next? Me? I'll
You or
do it.
Robbie?
I had a month. Frankly, I don't even know where to start. I know last time we recorded, I'll just skim over a lot of this shit because I don't want to take too long. There's a bunch of stuff. I know last time we recorded, I was regaling people with a tale of my audio situation on my computer, and I've since fixed that in a bit of an interesting way. I'm an asshole, and so I require like a decent audio experience with my computer, which I've been over a few times in past podcasts. So I plug my computer into an AV receiver, which has a 5.1 speaker setup going on.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, I could not run my computer through my receiver and then from my receiver to my TV because it would fuck up my 120 hertz signal, which I would not be able to get in 4K because of passing through the receiver would fuck it up because the receiver's old and doesn't support that, has older HDMI ports. So what I've done with my giant IQ is I've taken a second cable, right? Are you ready for this? And I've gone from my DVI port on my graphics card to my receiver. I have told my computer that I'm using two monitors, one of which is my TV, the other is my receiver, which it's sending video to because it has to, but I'm not using it. And I'm simply using the audio from that second monitor, air quotes, which is my receiver. And in doing this, I have gotten 0 latency, 5.1 audio from my computer to my receiver by simply tricking it into thinking that it's a second monitor. So the problem has kind of been solved.
I think that's really cool. Good
Sort-
fix, man.
Sort of been solved. I would prefer, because something I've noticed is that I think my GPU, I did some Googling and I saw people saying that when you run a dual monitor setup, it can cause your idle temperatures on your graphics cards to be a little bit higher. And this is specifically like something to do with NVIDIA architecture. For some reason, they've had this problem for a while. And for whatever reason, NVIDIA refuses to put out drivers that allow you to pass just audio-only signals from any of your graphics card's ports. I don't know why, but they won't do it. So that's one issue that I'm not a super huge fan of, but the temps aren't like a huge deal, and I just kind of fucked with my fan curve to fix that. So it's fine. I would prefer to just be doing it the normal way of putting one cable from my computer to my receiver, but I can't. So for the time being, I'm gonna just do this. And that's Brandon's audio saga completed, essentially.
Until you buy a new receiver.
I don't want to do that, especially because apparently all the HDMI 2.1 AV receivers don't work. Fun fact.
Oh, cool.
Like every new 2.1 receiver has issues with its ports getting fucky when you try to pass like a 120 hertz signal through them at 4K. Apparently they're all bugged out and broken. And they're very expensive, so that's two reasons why I don't want to do that. What else did I do? I completely watched season 4 of Better Call Saul. There's not a lot to say about that. It's good. 2 thumbs up. Started watching Stranger Things. I'm very behind the curve on that.
Nice.
Don't worry.
Where are you at?
I just finished season 1.
You're at the
like-
same place
Oh,
I am
wow.
at.
What are
Okay.
your thoughts on season 1?
Season 1 was great. I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot. I would say like it has mild oddities with the writing that I've noticed, but that's just me being nitpicky. Like I think my favorite character in season 1 is the police chief guy with the name I currently can't recall.
Well,
Hmm.
Hopper.
Yeah, because there's a nice like, how do I put this? There's like there's a nice like nuance to the way he's written, where like in episode 1 you start out being like, oh, I've seen this trope before, like the small town police chief that like doesn't take his job seriously, and he's just like some dipshit, and this is gonna be what he is for the entire show, where he has to be like convinced to do his job and shit like that. And then almost immediately from like episode 2, you get like a really small one-off line about how he used to be like a big city cop,
Hmm.
and then he's just like in it like
Yeah.
instantly from episode 2. Like you see him get like back into his work and start doing shit and getting shit done. And I thought that was like a really neat kind of subversion of my expectations a little bit with the writing of that character. So I like him a lot. I don't like how he solves every problem by just punching dudes who have guns and does that like multiple times and just gets away with it. And I'm like, that's kind of like nonsense. But I still like him. He's still probably my favorite character, at least in season 1. So
like
for the,
11.
what'd you say?
I like 11.
Yeah, she's cool. I initially I didn't like her. Like in the first 2 episodes, I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be the like, I don't know, all powerful like MacGuffin fucking character. But as the show went on, I wound up liking her more. Um,
Stop
but I
reading
still mostly like
TV
Hopper.
tropes, dude.
What
I
do you
mean,
say?
she is the all-powerful MacGuffin. She will always be. It's kind of the point of her character in a way.
No, yeah.
I guess the
Just chill.
point that I more meant is that I thought she was gonna lack depth and interest in like those first few episodes of season 1, and as the show went on, I wound up actually kind of appreciating her existence a little bit more. Um, in the writing. I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do with her from season 2 onward because I have not started season 2 yet. But as of right now, having just watched season 1, I like the show a lot. I don't know if they ruin it going forward, but as of now, I like it.
No, I mean,
I like the
I'm not going to
first
spoil
one.
anything, obviously.
I-
Season 1, I really enjoyed.
Mhm.
Season 2 was good, probably my least favorite, but it was still good.
See,
There were a lot of cool things about season 2.
I find it hard to start season 2. I really do. I don't know
Um,
why.
Why?
Like, I just find it hard to start it up again. Like I watched season 1 literally all the way through. Like I binged that shit, but I found it hard to start up season 2 for some reason. Like I watched the first episode and then I just couldn't get back into it.
Season 1 has a very satisfying ending where if the show stopped there, I wouldn't have complained.
No, yeah, true.
If that makes any sense, you know what I mean? So
I
like
get what
maybe
you're
that's part of your problem. I kind of feel like that though. When I watched the last episode of season 1, I was like, this was good. Like this was a satisfying ending to the season. If they'd never planned
Touch
for a
the
season
gas.
2, yeah, I would have been fine with it. Like you would have had the whole 11 plot line still be very open ended, but that would have been fine. It would have been a nice way to like end it. Um, so we'll see how my opinion changes as I watch season 2. Whenever
and
I
then
decide to do that.
season three, I enjoyed. I think there are going to be some things that you don't like about it. I could be wrong. Because I could see how some people might have problems with what happened, but I think there are moments in season 3 that overshadow the bad moments, and it was very good, and I enjoyed it.
There are other aspects of the writing of season 1 that just came to my mind right now that I just remembered as you were explaining that I think are also kind of goofy that I noticed, but they don't kill the show for me, but they are kind of like nonsensical and lazy in my opinion, which is the entire side character of Barbara is just there for dramatic effect. Does anyone even know who I'm talking about?
A redhead chick, right?
Yes. She's
Yeah.
in there as Nancy's friend. She dies and no one ever brings it up again. It's like you never see her parents.
Continue watching.
Okay, no, I
Yeah.
get that. Sure, that's fine.
He's talking
But
within that season.
my point still stands that in season 1 she's treated like nothing. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, oh yeah, she's there. We need to make it seem like the Demigorgon is frightening, even though spoiler alert, like he doesn't do anything to Will or whatever. Like we need it to kill somebody. So here's what we're gonna do. Aside from like the big action moments of like the last episode, we need it to murder someone early on. So it's gonna be Barbara, and then we're never gonna show her parents, and we're never gonna like delve into that. No one's gonna ask any questions. It's just gonna be like, oh yeah, she went off to some crazy dimension and died, and we all know that, and then we're never gonna bring it up again. And never have to explain it to anybody who's related to her in any way, shape, or form. Like it was very clearly there just to sell the creature from an earlier point in the season. But like I said, that's a minor complaint. It doesn't like ruin the fucking
Like I said, continue watching.
right, and that's fine. But my point is, within the context of season 1 alone,
I get it.
that is kind of shit. Like I have to pretend that like, what if season 2 didn't exist yet, and I had just watched season 1, and I had to wait for season 2? Barb is treated like nothing, and it's clearly that they just threw her in to make the creature dangerous to you, the viewer, from like episode 3. But it's not that big of a complaint. The show's still good. I liked season 1 a lot.
I liked 1. I think 2 had a weird couple of arcs in it, but it was overall, I didn't walk away going like, oh, I hated it. I didn't like it as
How I
much as
felt.
1. And I never ended up watching 3, and I don't know why. I just never got around to it.
Season 1, another thing I like about season 1 a lot is, I don't know if any of you feel like this, but it has that really nice I don't know, like just a nice like 80s era feel to it. And I don't just mean in terms of
No,
like,
you know what? That's really because I feel like a lot of things that do that go like way too hard with it, whereas
yeah,
that feels entirely appropriate. Like it
yeah,
doesn't feel kind of I don't want to use the word pandering because that doesn't make sense, 80s pandering, but that's what it feels like to me in a lot of shows. Whereas
yeah,
this one, it's part of the setting. Like it feels
yes.
lived in.
You're saying like when a show or a movie is like, look guys, it's in the 80s. Look at all this 80s stuff. Check it out. Whereas this
Yeah.
one treats it just kind of like an afterthought as like a backdrop for its story.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And I don't even just mean in terms of like the set design and like the way characters talk and look and shit like that. I'm not even just talking about that, but even just like the story itself. Like I don't know how to explain it. It feels like I'm watching something that was written in the 80s, if that makes any sense. Like it's a very like
It has a real Spielberg feel to it.
I was just about to say that. I was literally about to leave my tongue was the word Spielbergian. It feels like a Spielbergian like story. It really legitimately does. Once again, I don't know if that changes going forward in like season 2. But as of season 1, I got that vibe heavy. And I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on fucking season 1 of Stranger Things. I struggle to think of anything else I did that's worth talking about other than like Cyberpunk. But we'll get to that.
We sure will.
Uh, fuck. What else did I do? I mean, I've been playing a lot of Tarkov, but I don't even really give a shit to talk about that stuff.
I've already mentioned Tarkov and Dota.
Yeah.
And how you don't want to get into the hole, but I'm kind of getting there, and I'm dragging you with me.
I really don't want to get into the hole. It's fun to tip my dick in a little bit every once in a while, but I have no desire to sink a massive amount of time into it for no reason at the moment.
Gotta, practice. There you go.
I don't need to practice for my unranked games of cavern crawl progression in 4 months.
I am getting into the hole, but I think I'm doing good at not getting too into the hole. I'm trying to balance.
I've been
playing Tarkov with you guys and all that.
Yeah, sometimes you fucking ditch us to go play Dota with the cult.
Well, like I said, I'm getting into the hole, but I'm trying to not get into it hard.
Anyway, those two things are a thing. I can't think of anything else I fucking did. I played a little bit of Battlefleet Gothic, Armada 2.
Yeah, I noticed that. How have you been liking that?
I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I need to I want to finish it. It's kind of Cyberpunk like stole me, or I'm sorry, Tarkov stole me from Cyberpunk after like a week of Cyberpunk being out, and then I got Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2 during the last Steam sale, and I turned it on because I was like, fuck it, I want to play this. And now I'm kind of set on like I want to finish that before I go back to finish Cyberpunk because I really am enjoying Battlefleet Gothic.
I have a
It's
weird. I have Battlefleet Gothic. I got it like when it almost first came out. Because I believe I got a deal on it because I owned the first one. Could be wrong on that, but it's difficult for me. Not to like get into it, but like to understand it, and that's because I haven't sunk a lot of time in, and I never really sunk a lot of time into the first one.
Mm.
But like it's like going in, trying to learn it. It's I don't know. It's confusing to me.
it's not too hard. I will say it's one of the most micro-intensive RTSs I've played in quite some time. Um, but I kind of enjoy it for that fact. There's something very satisfying about, I don't know, turning your ships in the right way and selecting ships and switching them to a quick turn and getting them to the right angle at the right time and then boosting up to an enemy ship to line them up for a torpedo shot and then you fire torpedoes into their side and then spin to your ship's side to face them to broadside them after the fact and like doing all that on the fly with each one of your ships on like a micro level in the midst of a fight is very rewarding when everything works out. Um, and I'm liking it. I like it a lot. Uh, the tutorial sucks, so I don't know if that was like a problem for you, but it doesn't teach you very well how to play the game. To be completely honest, I had to figure out a lot of shit on my own. Um, but I'm
I
liking
love
it.
when a game does that.
It has some issues. Like I don't like how a big part of the marketing for Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2 was like, look, we have every faction from the tabletop Battlefleet Gothic in this game represented, which is really cool. But then they don't all have campaigns.
Mm.
So there's only like three in the base game, four if you get the Chaos DLC, and then you just can't play Tau, Orcs, Dark Eldar, or Eldar unless you just want to play skirmish against the AI or go online against people. And I have no desire to go online against people because I imagine all the people who are playing that game right now are the people who never left, who are probably killers and are micro gods. And I know I won't learn in that environment. It's like jumping into a fighting game late life cycle online. No desire to fucking do that. But the game's fun. It just sucks that I don't have like a Dark Eldar campaign that I can play, so I'm just kind of shit on in terms of like if I wanted to experience Dark Eldar, which I do, I kind of can't
Can
in
they?
like a fun environment.
Can there legally be released a Dark Eldar game without like jacking up the rating quite a bit?
Why? They got
It's
a chaos campaign.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's
true,
just a
true.
fleet-based combat campaign where you're just like raiding systems and stuff. If it
Like
was
they
like a
don't
Dark
have
Eldar
to. They
campaign
could say they take slaves. They don't have to say and they rape them 7 ways to Sunday.
with
After
the
They don't rape
razor-bladed
them.
cocks.
Like they don't
forming
have
a
to go
new
that much in depth.
orifice with which to rape.
But even the fact that like I enjoy the combat, I enjoy the RTS gameplay. I actually kind of enjoy the overworld campaign, even though it does feel like a budget, kind of watered down Total War game in space. But it's still fun. I like it quite a bit. It just sucks that I can't experience it with like four of the other races that are in the game. So that's a big negative for me. But the content that's there is fun, and I enjoy the combat. Um,
How's
and
the
that's about
balance?
it.
Does the
The
balance
balance.
feel good?
I've heard people say that the game is horribly unbalanced. I don't play online though, so I don't know if I can
Mm.
say that. Like I don't really have much of an opinion on it because I'm just playing as the AI in the campaign. I've noticed certain things, like I actually have a lot of difficulty making Space Marine fleets effective, um, which could be in keeping with lore because Space Marines kind of sucked in Battlefleet Gothic for a reason. Which was because in the great lore of 40K, Space Marine fleets don't have very good ranged potential because the Imperium is too afraid to slap good guns on their ships. Because in the event of a Horus Heresy Part 2 happening, they want the Imperial Navy to be able to blow them up in space with relative ease before they ever make it to a planet, so that they don't have the same problem they once had before. So as a result, in the tabletop Battlefleet Gothic, Space Marines excelled at boarding action, because that's basically how they had to win all their space fights, because their ranged options were shit.
Also makes a lot of sense thematically.
It does, but I also love how that's like the lore behind it. Is like, yes, we intentionally build their ships to be bad at like void ship to void ship combat at range, because we want to kill them quickly and easily should they turn traitor. But yes, it is also cool that Space Marines make up for it by being like, well, then how do we win fights in space? It turns out when Space Marines are on your ship, that's a really big problem, because now they're playing war the way they want to play war in your ship.
Literal tank men are in the halls.
Yeah, and that's cool.
Have a problem. What? There's giant tank men within our halls.
Seriously, think of
And
like
that's
from a lore's
Lights
perspective.
can't get through their armor, and they're souping everyone as they
Literally
walk through
just
our
a
halls.
bunch of Terminators with like thunderclaws just warp onto your bridge. Like, what do?
you don't do much.
It's like, well, I guess that's that.
And that's really cool, and I like that. I like that they kind of like stuck to that with this game. I just have trouble making them work. So I don't know if there's like a balance issue with them. I don't know if it's because boarding actions in this game are good, but they're not like as good as just shooting shit until it dies, or like using the weird gimmicks that like I've seen Dark Eldar and Eldar have in this game. So I don't know. There could be balance issues. I don't really know. I probably won't know because I'm never gonna go online with this fucking game.
How are the NIDs?
I haven't played them yet, and I haven't encountered them yet either.
Interesting.
So I don't know.
I know, like I said, I haven't played a lot, and I think I played like 2 or 3 missions in the campaign, but I know NID ships got mouths, and they could melee.
I do. It's true. I believe they're very ramming and boarding focused, as opposed to shooting focused. But like I said, I haven't played them and I haven't seen them yet in my campaign. So I don't know. But what I do know is that as of what I've experienced so far, the game is a lot of fun. I recommend it. It sucks I can't play a Dark Eldar campaign or even like an Orc campaign. Like that shit would be fun, but I can't do it. So that's one big negative with the game. But the game's cool. I like it. Probably on sale. It's worth grabbing. The combat's fun. And that's about it. I honestly struggle to think of. I know there's something else I did that I probably wanted to talk about, but I can't fucking remember. So I'll just say fuck it.
Get into Stalker like you were talking about, or
no, I didn't, because like I said, I wanted to do Cyberpunk first and then devote all my time to Stalker when I'm done with it. But I still have not finished Cyberpunk because of the Tarkov black hole. So
any music stuff? I'm just trying to jog your memory.
Oh yeah, I could talk about that, I guess, briefly. The track I was working on back like when we had last recorded, I'm done with. I just have to mix it and master it, but I've been putting that off because I hate doing it. And I've been working on another track instead of mixing and mastering it, but it's done. I just have to do that and then figure out if I'm gonna make something that I can upload it to like a SoundCloud or whatever. I'll probably bounce it to you to see if you want to use it for the podcast instead of what you're currently using. I don't know.
Cool.
That's entirely up to you. But whenever I finish it, I will do that. And that's pretty much it. I don't got much else to talk about.
Robbie?
Well, let's see. It's been quite a bit.
Yeah, even longer for you.
Time. Yeah, it's been a long time without you, my friends. I'm now telling you all about it because I'm seeing you again. I've been playing quite a bit. League, Scrap Mechanic, just all my usual games. Gotten real into Hades. Got some of the really hard aspects, the hidden aspects for weapons. Didn't get all of them. Got most of them though. Still trying to get the sword and the fist. I believe those are the only two weapons I need their hidden aspects for, and I'm working on getting the true ending for the game. I got one of the endings, but I'm still working on that true ending.
I've heard a lot of really good things about Hades, but I have not brought
Absolutely,
myself to pick it up.
absolutely would recommend.
I
Is
want to pick it
10
up.
out of 10 game. 10 out of 10. If you like roguelikes in any way, shape, or form, 10 out of 10 would recommend.
I do.
And it's
I
got a
do like
story
roguelike.
to it. And it's got a story to it, which I absolutely love. It's not just like you're running around and there's like semblance of a story there, like, ooh, maybe there is something there, and you got to piece it together. No, there's a legitimate story in your face. And by playing through the game multiple times over and by just playing it out, you get the story. I love it. Also, there's a million different ways to play. You got sword, spear, shield, fist, bow, and gun, which is hilarious.
The power of gun.
The power of the rail. And then there's playstyles within that because there's the different aspects.
Right, yeah.
And I like how the dialogue changes the longer you go in the game. It's funny. I actually enjoy how much they put thought into how long you've been playing, and how much the dialogue changes. Um, I think one of my favorite things is one of the bosses in the game is a bone hydra, and once you get through the game so many times, the main character actually is like, you know what, you don't talk. I'm gonna give you a name.
Oh,
He starts
nice.
naming it, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna give you this name. Is that name okay? And he just starts roaring at him, and he's like, yeah, that name's gonna be good. I'm like, god damn. They had to just be like, the counter just clicks this many times, and then this dialogue count and this dialogue comes in. I'm like, that's pretty cool in my opinion. I like it. It may not have been the most advanced feature, but I like it. I watched the newest season of Disenchanted.
This is wildly off topic before you get off the topic of Hades.
Yep.
But like I know that Hades is extremely good, and I also know that everything like Supergiant has ever done, people love. I have not played a single Supergiant game to this day, despite having Transistor in my Steam library because you, Anthony, gave it to me on a complete whim. Where one day I think we
It
were
was
talking
not
to
a
each other.
whim. I played that game. I fucking loved it, and I was like, play this.
Well, I believe this is exactly how it went down. You and me were talking, and and I think other people were here too, but you were like talking about Transistor, and I was like, I haven't played it, and you were like, you haven't played it, and I was like, yeah, and then you didn't say you were gonna get it for me, but I think like the next day or something, I turn on my computer and I just see it in my messages, and I'm like, all right, he really wants me to play this, and then I haven't turned it on. I installed it and everything on my old PC, and then I never fucking played it, but it's on the list, and I want to play it. And maybe someday I'll get Hades if it goes on sale. I hear great things about all these fucking Supergiant games, but I have not yet experienced one.
I think everyone gets like a Supergiant game that they're crazy about. Because, what's the one where. Wait, Bastion, right? That's what
Yeah,
it is?
Bastion was the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah, Sean's crazy about that. I love Transistor. Robbie loves Hades. There's probably other people who like other of their games. I just can't think of
Pyre.
it.
I've heard great things about Pyre. I just haven't played it.
Yeah, I was definitely meaning, kind of swinging back to my week a little bit, I guess. Unfortunately, my computer exploded within the time frame for the Steam sale. I was totally intending to pick it up, and then I was like, well, shit, I don't have a computer. Why would I do that?
Pick what up, Hades?
Yeah, and other shit, but mostly Hades.
There will be more Steam sales.
There will. It's true. It's inevitable. Gaben has my money already. I just don't know it yet.
Anyway, go on, Rob. I'm sorry.
Disenchanted. I finished the newest season of. Came out recently, and I just binged 10 episodes that came out of the newest season.
What is that? I haven't heard of it, actually.
Disenchanted is on Netflix. It's from the guy who created Futurama. It's
Oh, now I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
What'd you think?
I think it's not his best work, but it's definitely good. I enjoy it. I definitely think they got more of a direction as they went because there's been I think like 3 or 4 seasons now at this point.
Hmm.
And I think they got definitely more of a direction, or at least they're revealing more of the direction they wanted to go with it. It's definitely got that same sort of comedy that you get from like Futurama and everything, but it's fantasy instead of sci-fi. So it's interesting that you get the kind of magic feeling and everything. You got like demons, trolls, orcs, all that kind of thing, and it's interesting to see how it all works out. I think that it's got like that same interaction like Futurama gets, like where it's got like that like it's like stupid comedy, but then it goes like really serious in some episodes, especially this season. Like it got me legit being like, wow, this got dark and serious real fucking quick. And I was like, holy shit. But I enjoyed it, especially this season. This season really got me like, yes, give me more of this. So would recommend, but I will say that the first season a little slow, but afterwards it actually gets better.
Hmm. Anything else?
Otherwise, once again, just been playing the same old games I've been playing. I did pick up. I don't know if I've said this before, but I picked up Kingdoms of uh. I'm gonna fuck up
Amalur.
this. Amalur, the Re-Reckoning.
Nice.
I've been replaying that as my nostalgia got to me, and it was on sale, so I was like, "Fucking picking it up." I was like, "It is rightfully mine" with 50% off. So I remember why I liked the game, and with it, I remember why the customization of this game and just how differently you can play with each run, and it just gets me. I enjoy it so much. Just the difference in the system. It kind of reminds me of why I like Lancer the system.
Oh
It's
man,
just so customizable.
I want to play Lancer so badly.
Lancer's good. Lancer's fun.
The customizability of the system is just, I love it.
Uh, I think a problem, and me and Rob have discussed this with the Lancer system, though, is that once you reach a certain level, there's like no point to continue because there's too many options. There's not enough options at the same time. Like,
I think once they reveal
and
more stuff,
you just get, I don't know, it starts to get bland at that point.
just get to start get bogged down because there's only so much you can put on mech.
Like in our game with our other group, we're license level 7, correct?
Correct.
And I'm out of things to like actually progress in. Like I was going like a hacker. I have all the hacker talents. I have the hacker mech I want. I have a whole nother like set of hacker things from other mechs. It's like I could get other stuff, but you can only throw so much stuff on your mech. So it's like I'm done.
Hmm.
I'm literally done at level 7. So like to progress further is just I don't know.
I think it's good for situations. You can get different hacking options for situations, and I think it's still viable and good.
Like at that point it's just like, well, I might as well just start over, like start with a new mech and get rid of all my hack options just to play something different, but then I'm up against stronger enemies because we're licensed level 7. So it's just, I might as well just stick with my stuff I got. So
I
that's my one problem with the system is that I don't think there's enough options, yet too many options.
well, certain things from what I find is like really like if you want to be the best at something, there's like a mech that is just maybe two, but even then that's like not enough. Um, like yeah, hacking, it's very clear that like there's plenty of mechs that can hack. They have bonuses to tech attack and stuff, but you're playing fucking Minotaur or Goblin and nothing else.
Which I have both of
Right.
because yeah, those are the ones.
And it's same with like melee, like yeah, Vlad is good and all stuff. No, 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 fuck that. You're getting Blackbeard. Like it's just
All right, well then all right. In that regard,
I disagree with you there because
in that regard, there are good melee mechs that are not those things. Granted, like Blackbeard is strong, but you can
No,
make other builds
I
work.
don't think Vlad is one of the strong ones. I'm saying that like Vlad's kit is kind of geared to be like melee close range, but like but then you compare it to just straight up Blackbeard. And another thing that's like that is Morning Cloak is really disturbing when it comes to like just melee damage potential. Like what I mean is that yeah, there are other ones that are more generalists, but for every kind of like what do you want to play? Do I want to be sneaky melee? Do I want to be tank melee? There's like one or two of each of those that it's like
And the cool thing is too with Lancer is that all right, so like Blackbeard's really good. Like I get that. But you could be like, I'm gonna use a Nelson, but I'm also gonna get license levels in Blackbeard and take the systems. All you don't use is the frame. You could
yeah.
still use its systems.
the only thing I'll say, which I hope in their next expansion that they're working on, thumbs up and fingers crossed, we get another drone focused mech because we
Yeah,
really don't.
yeah.
Because you have the Hydra, and then you kind of have one with the kid that has its kind of mech that it has,
Yeah.
but it's not really a drone focused mech. It's kind of got some cool stuff with its drone, the Jolly Roger, but it's 50 Shades of okay.
Yeah, like there are a bunch of mechs that give drones, but there's no mechs built around drones besides for
The Hydra and
Yeah.
the kid.
yeah. Stuff like that. I just want to play it so bad. Giant robots, man.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, this is
mean,
your game.
take-
I would need to know literally anything about the game at all to even give
All-
a shit about running.
Brandon, you're going to play the outlet Atlas and you're going to love it. That's all that matters.
Okay.
It's Japanese robot.
And
You're
Jäger
literally,
Kunz.
you literally play Raiden from
Jäger
Metal
Kunz.
Gear.
Oh,
Yeah, and you count as a mech though.
Yeah.
Even though you're not,
Okay.
you're size half. You're
You're-
the size of a person. He literally has talents where he can like go into like in between people's feet and stuff because you're just riding and you're ninja slashing mechs in a ninja mech.
oh,
Yeah, basically.
okay.
Or you could play what is it fucking called?
Tokugawa.
Tokugawa, I think he would also like Morning Cloak a lot. All those mechs, I think he would be big fans of.
Yeah, why isn't anyone running this? It's up my alley.
Or the Caliban and just be Doom Guy.
I don't know.
Caliban's totally Doom Guy. It's half size.
No, not that. But I'm for like
You could,
Brandon's persona. Not enough ninja in the Caliban. Granted, you could get ninja
I do like Doom
systems
Guy
and
too,
put
though.
it
Doom
in.
Guy's cool.
This is totally Doom Guy. It's literally the shotgun mech as well. You're
Yep.
half size. You fucking are wrecking ball. You literally get to push around everything.
Regardless of size, which is very, very funny.
Yeah, regardless of size, and you're the fucking size of a person. You get to take that size 3 mech and be like, fuck out of my way. I'm
Play the
Doom
Monarch and be Farah.
Guy."
Except
Yeah, that would be up BB's alley, not mine.
Justice reigns.
Literally just a flying missile salvo mech.
You know what? I
Monarch doesn't
want to
fly.
get into the Monarch, but
The Monarch technically doesn't fly either.
well, anything can fly. You just need the right systems.
Yeah, with the
Which
right
is
systems.
fun.
But if you want to just normally fly, you go Dustwing.
But
Which
I-
makes you the size of a person.
When I look at missile mechs, I can't look at I look at the Monarch because I like missile boats and I think they're cool.
Like the Monarch a lot. Monarch is cool,
But-
dude.
Monarch is my
I can't help but
choice.
just look at fucking what's his name, Raleigh with just nothing but missile racks and just laugh endlessly.
My favorite mech, though, personally, the Emperor. Emperor is solid. Fucking Bobot.
Oh
the,
yeah,
the
yeah,
core
that guy.
rules are the core rules for this game free? Is that what
Correct.
I'm looking at?
Yeah.
If you like, personally,
But
I
hold on, I'll just cut you off. Do download just the free version because the free version gives you a lion's share of all the mechs and all the weapons and all the talents. You could literally build your character with what's in the free. thing.
yeah, just go
You know about CopCon, right,
Yes,
Who are you asking?
Anthony?
yes.
All right, because
I
heard.
CopCon is literally the godsend. It's like the Chummer of Lancer, but better.
I don't think Lancer's
Okay.
so complicated it needs it, though. It's pretty simple.
Yeah,
No, the answer is simple, but CopCon is just like it's so nice to having all your stuff there
it's
and
how
just
we learn so quickly, honestly.
yeah, and then just having like all the actions there and everything just in a nice place.
Oh, I see how the Manticore gets away with all its stupid BS systems now. It has resistance to all that damage.
Yep.
I see.
Manticore's kind of funny.
The Manticore I absolutely love, and I would
I
love to do a build on it.
I love I'm playing a goblin right now because I'm playing like hacking, but I am absolutely in love with the Drake. I love the Drake. Just shield, minigun, tank, let's go.
You know what's really funny that I realized you can do is you can get Drake and then put one level into Metal Mark, and Metal Mark has that brace action that makes you invisible when you brace. And Drake, when he braces, still has a full action. So you have all the resistances and the difficulties, and also you're invisible.
Visible, shield, and minigun.
Let's see here. Metal Mark, Metal Mark.
I find myself building mechs more around talents and weapons and then I just pick like a suitable platform for it than
I just think about what
starting
do
at
I
the
want to
mech.
do, and then I just find the frames and shit to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about the lore of Lancer, but I really do like Horus and like all that shit with the
Horus is
hacking
nuts.
too.
I
Like
really
it's
like
very
shift.
it's very creepy. It borders on eldritch horror as well.
Oh, it doesn't
So
border. It's in there.
yeah.
I like SSC because they're like the transhumanist crazy guys with their anime mechs. But that said, like actual performance rise, I really good lord IPSN North Star.
Oh, you have to activate their onboard core system to get that brace. You still have a full action.
No, yeah, it's not
All right.
perfect, but it's hysterical for
I
when
thought that
that
was a
does.
frame train for a second. I was like, hmm.
No, that would be nuts. Bracing as a free action as if like just a mech trait would be broken as fuck.
Omni Harpoon.
But yeah, I'll
Rocket.
send you those books. You could do a lot of crazy shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to just skim them for shits and giggles.
But also in the next book they're doing, because they're experimenting already. Variants. I can't wait for that.
Ooh. That
They
could add a
already
lot to the game very simply.
exactly. They already have a few out. The World Killer Genghis Mark One
That
and
sounds fun.
the Shock Berserker, the Inuk, whatever.
Oh,
They're
okay.
variants. They just give you different frames. You still get the passives as of right now, but fucking the Tawagawa, the Tokugawa, whatever the fuck,
Tokugawa.
Tokugawa, the Shock Berserker is the variant of that one, and what that one does is it gives you some other shit as well as gives you some interesting shit. Like while in the danger zone, it can't make range attacks, but its base speed is increased by 6.
What? That's insane. That
And
is
it
insanely
comes with
fast.
it gets an integrated system which is called Plasma Talons, which is threat 3, 1d6 plus 1 energy damage, AP. You can use these only when you're in the danger zone, and they're reliable too.
Okay? Who's the guy that does 6 billion demons? The whatever. Abaddon. He needs to be reined the fuck in, because it's like I really like the core book, and then I like some of the stuff in the expansions, but like every time he releases new stuff, where there's like pre-release of the new stuff, it is so clearly better. It's
I
not
don't
like
know.
a
I like a
little
lot of
bit.
the base stuff.
I'm not saying it doesn't mean the base stuff is bad or not completely suitable, but it's just I feel a power creep when I hear about these things. When I see like the test rules, it's like, oh wow, yeah, this is fucking brutal. And he's a creative guy to kind of even keep one-upping himself. It's like a weird, like, backhanded compliment. But, yeah, I think he needs to take it easy. Because there's not even a mech that has base speed 6, let alone plus 6. Like, that's insane. That is absolutely nuts. Then
Should
you
we
have
like
shit
move
like
on
White
from
Witch.
Lancer at some
Yeah,
point?
we
the
probably
White
should.
Witch has a base frame of 6.
Jesus God.
Okay, moving on.
Like, this is all cool and all, but I can put myself in the shoes of a hypothetical listener, of which we have many, because I already don't know a lot about this until he sends me the books, and I'm just sitting here listening to you guys talk about numbers on mechs.
I'll
Sorry.
chop it up. It'll be all good. But anything else, man?
Oh no, that was basically Oh, I lost my job. Yeah, I'm unemployed.
Woo!
Nice.
Freedom.
There we go.
What an end cap.
Now to get into news. All right. So our first bit of news is that a Saudi prince has bought SNK.
Oh wow, we're not gonna open with Cyberpunk. We're
We
gonna
could
talk about Saudi princes buying SNK first.
I just had
Yeah.
this in order. We could go to Cyberpunk next.
I mean, fuck it, whatever. We're here now. So a Saudi prince bought SNK.
Yeah.
No one knows what it means.
It's just interesting. I wonder, like, what drives a purchasing decision like that. But besides the fact that I'm obscenely rich and I enjoy these games. Like,
Yeah, I have no idea.
Rightfully mine.
because I know, like, I mean, everyone plays around with, like, what would you do if you win the lottery? Buying a video game company, even one I like, has never been even, like, close to anywhere on that list. I don't know.
Listen, just never forget, okay? If you buy a copy of KOF 15, 15? Is 15 the new one? Or is it 14?
It is
God,
now.
no, 15. 15. It's 15. If you buy a copy of KOF 15 whenever it comes out, a portion of your money will be going to a Saudi prince. And, you know, possibly funding the murder of more journalists and shit of that nature.
Are you okay?
So, who knows if you're okay with that? I don't know. Got to find it within yourself.
Yeah, we got to figure out which Saudi prince. Which you can.
Yeah.
There's a record.
Oh, well. Just saying, you know.
Speaking of Cyberpunk, let's let's talk about Cyberpunk. Oh
All I'm
boy.
saying is there could be a questionable set of morals behind the next King of Fighters game. You got to find it within yourself to ascertain whether or not you want to fund that particular set of morals.
The training dummy is just a journalist.
Oh God.
You go to the practice room, and instead of like picking another character, it's just like journalists.
We're doing Iori combos on some poor journo. I can't wait. Double replicant.
Predictable.
Predictable. I will stain my hands with your blood. These jokes are dark. Let's go to Cyberpunk.
This is dark.
Yeah.
A far happier topic of conversation.
Is it?
No, that was the joke.
So yeah, Cyberpunk came out. It killed my PC first, the promise of cyberpunking. And then it turned out that the game is really buggy. And that's okay. We've played jank games that we've enjoyed before. But it was buggy to an unplayable level.
Can I
Especially if you own a PS4 or an Xbox.
I feel like at this point in time, a lot of people are probably already familiar with a lot of the fallout that's happened
Probably.
post Cyberpunk launch. But just to preface this before we start digging into it, because there is a lot of shit that's been going on.
Yeah, we should
since
probably
this game has come
list
out. So just to preface, among us, who has played it
Yep.
for any like significant length of time? Has it only been me?
I played it a little bit.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. I know Richie hasn't played it much, right?
No, not really.
Okay. I just want to point out that like my experience with the game has not been that bad in comparison to what a lot of other people have been reporting and showing off, like bug-wise.
Mhm.
I'm not defending the fact that like the PS4 and Xbox One versions are clearly fucked up and unplayable, but like I haven't encountered that many bugs in comparison. That being said, the game has some fucking problems that I've even noticed in my playing of it, but most of my complaints with the game are like gameplay oriented, not bug things or progression blockers or anything that I've encountered like that.
Mm.
Um, but I still like the game. I think like when we were talking about Cyberpunk before it came out and we were giving it like I'm careful in the sense that like I don't want to go into spoilers that much here because I know like a lot of us haven't dug into it yet and we might want to, like you and Richie and like stuff.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
definitely gonna buy it, but like after a year probably. I'm gonna get like
okay.
the Game of the Year version probably. Maybe. I don't
Um,
know. I might cave beforehand. I'm weak-willed.
I do recommend it still. Before we dig into all this controversy, I do still recommend it, especially because I know you'll be playing it on PC, which is one of the more stable versions of the game.
Mm.
Um, it's fun. I like it. When I spoke about it with like Matt, and I think I talked about it with one of the cultists, the Dota cultists, I honestly described the game as being like, you can take this as you will. It's going to sound kind of negative, and I guess it kind of is, but I almost describe the game as being like less of an RPG and more of like a open world, like Ubisoft style game. Like it feels like I'm playing something more akin to like a Far Cry, but with like a character building element to it in terms of like how I approach combats and shit like that. But it's not like, once again, I don't want to go into spoilers, so I don't want anybody to think that I'm about to spoil anything. I will simply put it like this. A lot of the opening moments of the game, plot wise, you just like can't influence in like any way, shape, or form. Like they're very set in stone, and even a lot of the side missions that I've encountered so far don't feel like things you can manipulate,
Mhm.
plot wise. So I really do almost describe it as being more of like a, here's a map, here's like a point of interest on the map, run to the point of interest and fight a bunch of dudes, almost like you're like liberating a base in a Far Cry game or something like that. You know what I mean? I
Right.
still like the game, but it's got some issues. Even aside from the things that I know we're about to talk about, which is all the controversy regarding how fucked up some SKUs of that game are.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I took my hand off my push talk to sip my monster can, which I don't know where we want to start because god damn, there's a lot.
Yeah, it's hard to pick. Well, I guess we'll start with the major thing. So, the game was fucking unplayable on PS4 and Xbox to the point where they were like, "Oh, we'll give you refunds." And then they pawned it off on Sony. It was like, "Hey, give these people refunds." And then Sony just straight up just delisted the game.
Well, that was the beauty of it. To get really specific, is that when people were like, "Hey, how do I get a? Can I get a refund?" They were like, "Just go ask Sony." They
Mm.
weren't like, "Oh yeah, we'll give it to you." They were like, "Yeah, go. Sony has to handle that." And then you have all these people going to Sony being like, "Can you pay for my copy of Cyberpunk that I bought from the store?" And they were like, "Fuck you, CD Projekt Red, and we're just gonna delist your game completely." That's so hilarious. I think the worst part, and like, I don't remember if we alluded to this earlier because we've already been recording for so long. The worst part of that entire fucking thing is that they were like, "Hey, so the PS4 version and the Xbox One version are completely fucked up." And then when the games came out and there was all the controversy and they put out their statement being like, we're sorry, like we didn't catch all these problems, and that's on us. We're gonna fix it. We promise." But in reality, they absolutely knew that those versions were fucked because no one played those versions, nor did they allow anyone who may have played those versions pre-release to use their footage of the game in reviews. They fucking knew. There is no reason why any developer, has anyone ever done that? has given out pre-release versions of a game for review purposes and then said, "Hey, you can't use your footage though. Like we're gonna give you footage, and you can talk over this, but you can't use your own gameplay footage." That is so clearly them knowing that the game is completely fucked up, but they just didn't want reviewers to show people that the game was completely fucked up.
We don't even have to go that deep. Like, they delayed the game, and they specifically said it's because of the performance of some versions of the game.
Yeah.
And then they still released it. Like, Christ, you had the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series whatever version coming out like a year later anyway. You just postpone it for that. Just release it on PC. There'd be like none of the controversy. I mean, it would be controversial, but it was already controversial because of the delays, and you would have all those customers and not this, which then leads to the next story is that they are getting sued multiple ways.
Wait, is the game not out for PS5 and Xbox Series X right now?
Correct.
I thought it was.
I know it didn't launch at the same time. I don't know if it's out yet. Let me
I
see.
could have swore it is. I might be wrong. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm checking it too.
You can play the PS4 and Xbox One version of Cyberpunk 2077 on your PS5 or Xbox Series X right now, but they're working on an update that takes advantage of current gen hardware and hopefully irons out most of the bugs and performance issues. What? So if you play so you could play Cyberpunk on your PS5, but you're playing the PS4 version?
Yeah, it says so the
That's so
release.
strange.
Yeah, the release for the PS5 and Xbox Series S is 2021. They don't have a strict date for it. So you're playing like the backwards compatible
That's
version?
so odd. So they're basically they upgrade you later. If you bought it on if you're playing it on PS5 right now, you get your PS5 version
I didn't
later.
even know that was that. I thought that they didn't exist at all. But no, they have the shitty buggy version. No wonder.
Yeah.
This is like an extra layer of controversy I didn't even realize existed.
It's worth noting the Cyberpunk 2077 next gen upgrade will be free if you already own the game on last gen consoles, when originally confirming. Gamers should never be forced to purchase the same game twice or pay for upgrades. We've seen nothing to indicate that's going to change. Yeah, they're playing the old gen version on a PS5 or a Series X right now. That's horrible. I mean, I assume it still has all the same issues despite the difference in hardware, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, a lot of this is software based, not hardware based.
Yeah, that's giga fucked up. I didn't know that.
Wow, we're discovering new breaking news from the Camels.
Yeah, it's old news, but it's breaking for us
Breakingly old.
because we're good at what we do.
Like your
Yeah, we
grandmother's
totally-
hip, it's old and it's breaking.
Yeah, it's really fucked up then. But I mean, the point still being like those versions are completely fucked up, and like they absolutely knew that those versions were completely fucked up. That lends credence to the fact that even more credence to why they didn't let people use their footage. Because unbeknownst to me, in my head, I was thinking, okay, reviewers probably got like PS5 versions, Xbox Series X versions, and PC, right? But if any reviewer was playing this on a PS5, that means it doesn't matter. They were still playing the buggy, fucked up PS4 version. Like they obviously knew. That's the thing that bothers me the most about their statement was like in that statement specifically, I think in the text statement they were like, we just didn't. I'm sorry, we didn't catch these issues. It's like fuck off. How did you
Yeah.
obviously did?
You caught
It's
it, you
impossible
delayed.
not to.
Did you not catch it again? Where with the QAs too fucking burnt out from the first run to throw any flags?
Yeah, they didn't even QA it again. They had a whole period of time with no QA because all the QA testers died of stress. So I mean, that alone is fucked up. Then we get to a bunch of the other snippets of controversy, such as investors filing lawsuits and class action lawsuits all because of the fucked up launch of this game. And I mean, like, there are things like, once again, I don't know how much input the rest of you have on this. For me, like, I'm still kind of enjoying playing the game, but like Crobcat put out a video recently. He came out of the woodwork to put out one of his like yearly hot takes, and it was just a complete teardown of Cyberpunk. And in there, he does a really good job, which kind of helped me. And I noticed some of this just in me playing the game. But he does a very good job of doing a side by side of like stuff from trailers that they absolutely marketed as this is going to be in the game, and then we get the game and none of it's there. And I'm not just talking about the shit that like they told us wasn't going to be there, like car customization, the wall running shit, the akimbo, but stuff that they didn't tell us they were cutting. There are trailers of that game where they show off these like neat little immersive things where like you can walk up to a billboard that's advertising you something and you can interact with it and it'll open up a store that will sell you shit straight from the advertisement on the street. That doesn't exist in the game. There's a snippet in the game of like your character being in like a strip club and just like partying and like doing shit, being on like a stage playing a guitar, and the narrator is like, you can choose how you spend your free time, like implying that there would be like alternate mini game-esque activities like GTA style that you could do. That's not in the game, like at all. None of that shit is in there. There's a moment in the trailer where your character walks up to like a street vendor at like a food cart and takes like a little like piece of food from him, like a kebab or whatever, implying that you could just like walk up to street vendor food cart people and buy shit from them on the street. That's not in the game. To the point where I watched that trailer very close to the game's release, and I walked out of V's apartment at the start of the game, walked up to a food vendor at one point and went, why can't I interact with this person? And I experienced it instantly because I knew from watching the trailers, building hype in the lead up to the game's release, that like some of this shit was going to be there, and then it just wasn't. So that's fucked up. Like there's clear false advertising that went on with this game, straight up. Tons of mechanics that we were told were going to be there that just aren't in there, and features that like we weren't warned were being cut. Like we were warned with some things,
Yeah, I
and
think
other things they just didn't feel like telling us.
And I think that's where they get into like their trouble, because there's been plenty of games and plenty of game trailers where it's like you can't fucking do that when you get the game. It's not the same. But when they're breaking down, you can actually do this, we're cutting this and stuff, and then you don't mention like a shit ton of other things, that's when it starts to become like false advertising and antitrust. I mean, I would argue that some of these trailers are false advertising too, the ones that don't tell you, but I don't know. They complicated it for themselves, and they're gonna pay a price for it.
It's just like you can't, there's no defense for putting out a trailer and literally having the person narrating the trailer say word for word, like you will be able to like decide how you spend your free time, and then show these snippets of like these alternative little like free time activities that are very clearly reminiscent of like some Grand Theft Auto shit. And then you're obviously implying that that's going to be in there, and then the game comes out and it's not there. Like that's obvious cut content. I had to stop watching certain reviews because they dive into spoiler territory, and I haven't finished the game yet. But like I watched like 15-20 minutes of like Angry Joe's fucking review of Cyberpunk, and he points out that the cut content potentially goes even further than just these little snippets of things that in the grand scheme of things don't matter too much, like these free time activities and shit. But stuff that does matter a lot, where he explained, and once again, I don't want to get too into spoilers, but he explains that some of the origin stories feel like there's nothing to them, and they have like very little. Like, and what I mean by that is when you start the game, you can pick from 3 different starting like origins, and he explains that there's only one of them, and I won't go into specifics, but there's only one of them that feels like it has anything for you. later on as the game goes on. And the other two honestly feel like there's clear things there that could have been fleshed out, but are not, and amount to essentially nothing as the game progresses.
Yeah, I kind of
And that's really unfortunate.
yeah, I kind of read that like there's the beginning thing, and then it feels like you're just playing Street Kid no matter what you picked, and then there's an ending with some implications from what I understand.
Once again, like I said, I don't want to go into spoilers too much. All I know is that he said, and if this is too spoilery for people, I apologize. I'm not going to go that in depth. He just said that Nomad has some stuff later on, but the other two kind of don't. To the point where like one of them is like, oh yeah, and I won't say which and I won't say how, but one of them is like it sort of just wraps itself up off screen. And it's just like, yeah, this happened. Glad that's done and over with, and then it
Wow.
never comes up again and you don't experience it and it's just over. And then the rest of the game just plays out the way it would if you had picked either of the other two origins. Clearly there was ideas there and they just didn't do anything with them at all. Obvious cut content,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, too much cut, not enough content. I do think.
And like I said, those early events of the game. Once again, if this is too spoilery for some people, I apologize. It's really not that big of a deal because it's like the first few hours of the game, depending on how quickly you shotgun the main plot content. But like everything you saw in the trailers, like in regards to like Jackie and Dex and shit, plays out like one for one in the game with no variability. Like you can't do anything. Um, and I would understand that and be okay with that if it weren't for the fact that like I haven't encountered a single side mission yet that feels like it has any variance either in terms of how it can play out, or at least not like major variability. It's just like between the cut content and like the lack of RPG-ish features, like there are things about this game to be disappointed about, and some of it really does feel like giga false advertising in some areas, but that's just my opinion.
I do like. I think they were really ambitious, which is a blessing and a curse. The bit I read about how there's a lot of ways you could impact certain story missions, not by like picking a dialogue choice, but by actual action. I think that's super cool, but it doesn't translate well because unfortunately we've been conditioned with years and years of other games that your interaction means this. And so when they tell you to do something, you just kind of do it and you don't realize that you could have changed something. And then it doesn't help where, yeah, that's all cool, but from what I hear is side content is extremely sparse and it doesn't feel as lived in as it should. Like if you're going to take an RPG and try to make it like the next Grand Theft Auto, you should go all in on that, and they
Yeah.
didn't, and that turns out to be a huge problem.
I want to be really clear too. I'm aware of the fact, once again, like I said, I haven't finished the game yet. I put about like 30 something hours into it. Um, I'm not done with it. I've heard and had certain small things spoiled for me that it opens up a little bit later on, and like there is some variability. But there are things I also know that have very little variability, such as the origins and the lack of things, and a lot of the side missions that are not plot centric do not have a lot of variance in terms of how they can play out. Some of them do, but a lot of them don't.
Mm.
And then you combine that with like the clear cut content. The fact
Yeah.
My biggest disappointment with the game, hands down, is the lack of cool side shit to do. Because it does just make it feel like less of an RPG and more of like a action adventure game with some like character building stuff that I can do to like determine how I approach combat. And that's kind of it, because I can't do any of that cool shit that was in the trailers that I was kind of excited for, to like really get immersed, you know what I mean, and like live in the world and like do this cool side content and do all this neat shit. and none of it's there. And it feels really shit for the game to boil down to, do you go to the place to do the main plot stuff, or do you drive to this exclamation mark on the map that is, or this question mark on the map that is a side mission that has very little variability in terms of how it can play out, and usually just boils down to fight some dudes. And it's like, it's not what I was expecting, you know? Like, that's not how the game was marketed to me. I'm still enjoying it, but it's not what I was sold on by the trailers and shit. So I do feel like to some extent I was kind of duped in terms of like the content I was expecting to get from this game.
Yeah, I mean, all the trailers are selling you you're living in Night City, and
Yeah.
that's not what you got.
Not to mention, dude, there's so many other like small things I could complain about. Like, we got a whole trailer before the game came out about fashion. Literally an
Yeah.
entire trailer dedicated to choose how you look in Night City. Style's a cool thing in Night City, and the fashion trends and how you're gonna look in Night City. And then you get your hands on the game and you realize that like you kind of can't determine how your character looks because your armor stats are tied to the armor like strictly, and you can't pull them off. Like there's no transmog system in the game at all. So like fashion isn't really a thing. It's just, what pants did I find that have the best armor value? I guess I got to get rid of these ones, even though I like the way they look, because these ones look clowny as fuck, but they have better stats and mods and shit. And it's like a lot of the shit that they marketed just isn't there.
Mm.
And it's very disappointing.
Yeah.
That being said, I still kind of like the game. I would still give it like a 7 out of 10 because the combat, surprisingly, is the thing I thought would be the shittiest, and it's actually really solid.
I'm-
I like the combat a lot. Like, melee is viable, and I'm having a lot of fun with a melee build in Cyberpunk, but all the other shit is hard to ignore.
Yeah, it's a fine linear experience, but that's not what you bought the game for.
I was so excited, like, leading up to this game. I may have even talked about it on the podcast. I was so excited to, like, get immersed in an RPG. Like, I was really looking forward to it. It's been a while since I've experienced like a really really good RPG from beginning to end that I just got lost in, and I thought this game was gonna be that. And once again, I can't give a lasting opinion on it because I haven't finished it yet. But as of right now, I don't know if that's what I'm getting out of it, and that is kind of disappointing.
Oh yeah.
That being said, I still kind of recommend it because it is fun to play. Like, the combat's good. The ways you can build your character to approach combat differently from somebody else's character are vast. Like, there are many different ways you can build your character for combat situations. Some of the side content, even though the variability is week, is still interesting. Like, I think I've heard some people complain that they don't do a very good job of establishing the setting and the world, and it feels kind of like generic sci-fi cyberpunk. I kind of disagree. I think the game does a pretty good job of building the world around you, even if there isn't a lot of cool side shit to do in it. It still looks the part. Some of the like text logs you get do a decent job of like explaining the way shit works and making you understand what's going on around you. Um, I've heard, even though I haven't finished it, that the main plot is solid. Like, apparently people say it is an interesting story that's pretty well written, even if there is a lack of variance in terms of how it can play out. Um, so there's things to like about the game, and I do still kind of recommend it. It's just a lot of the like false advertising and content is very depressing. And
Yeah.
that's my fucking 2 cents on it, which we spiraled massively away from like the lawsuit news and shit and just started reviewing it.
Well, I mean, you can't say too much about it. It's not like it's been what the actual repercussions of that. Like, it's still being in the works, I think, the lawsuit itself. So it's, and it leads into it because if we're feeling that, like, wow, they really fucking advertised a completely different game than the one they sold, that means that this lawsuit has merit. And, um, It'll be interesting to see that shape up. It'll be interesting to see what they do to try to salvage it, if they can salvage it, especially their goddamn reputation. Um, but yeah, it's unfortunate.
I think one of the more interesting facets of the Cyberpunk development fiasco that I forgot was in here as I'm scrolling through our news, um, was the fact that it recently came out that development didn't actually start until 2016, which could have a hand in why the game is in the state that it's in, because I think a lot of people just assumed, hey, we got that first trailer back in like 2013. So this has been like a 7 or 8 year development cycle. And in reality, they put out that trailer focused entirely on like Witcher 3 until 2016 and
Mm.
then actually started working on the game. So the game we got really wasn't in development for, it was only in development for 4 years or so, or maybe like 3.5. So
Still, I don't
could
know.
have
That
something to
seems
do with
like
it.
a lot of time. I mean, they kind of fucked themselves with having to like mess with that engine and the kind of stuff like that, and it was very ambitious. I think it's a lot of it was a lot of ambition. Um, Marketers got out of hand, and the developers did what they could, and it definitely they shot themselves in the foot. Where yeah, I was talking about it before when they said they did the first delay, where it's like we live in this really weird console generation era where before it was easy. You know, there's that console shift, but you just basically had to make it between those two versions, and people weren't expecting like massive differences. But this is a huge leap of technology, more than any other generation. So that's going to be night and day and hard to program for. And then there's even different versions of the same console. We never had like a PlayStation 3 Pro or anything like that they had to worry about when the PlayStation 4 came out. So it's like you were secretly having to balance between like twice as many consoles, little and three different power bands, and that had to have been a nightmare. And they should have just, I don't know, when it was clear that it was going south, just they cut the fun things. They should have cut like where it was going out, or just do delayed releases. Christ, make a PlayStation 4 version that works, and then in a year I play it on PC. I mean, I waited for Monhun. It worked out fine. It's like,
I personally don't understand. Uh, I don't understand where things went wrong with the development of this game. I feel like the once again, not to sound like a broken record, but like the way the game was marketed is not the way it turned out. And I don't know where down the line of development they just decided to not include half of the shit that they kind of sold us on in trailers. I mean, a lot of people, myself included, probably pre-ordered this game expecting more of that like GTA-ish kind of experience. I wasn't expecting this to be like, I knew going into it, and we had even talked about this on the podcast, that it wasn't going to be Cyberpunk GTA, but I was expecting some of those things that are GTA-esque to be in there, like the side activities, like some of those like immersive aspects to the world that had been sold to us in trailers and explicitly shown off and talked about. So like, where down the line did they decide, let's just take all that out? And let's not tell them that we're going to take it out. Let's just take it out
yeah.
very quietly, and they won't know until they're playing it. Like, when did that happen?
I think
You
that
know,
there
I
just
just don't
had to
get it.
be a frightening realization just as the date started to loom
They
and the
couldn't
credit.
do it.
Yeah, they were like at one point there was a board meeting and a manager just went, "We cannot do this." And they're like, "Oh, what if we gave you more time?" And they were like, "We cannot do this."
Yeah. But
And
but here's the problem with that argument or theory is they were still selling us those features not that long ago. Like some
Like,
of those
here's that
trailers.
thing. That meeting was between the development managers and marketing was down the hall.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I guess. Or they were, or higher ups didn't give a fuck about the fact that they were selling us features that didn't actually exist, which is fucking false advertising. But they said, fuck it, put it in the trailer anyway. Make them think they can go up to the street vendor and make them think that we'll have these interesting interactive ads and make them think that they can get up on stage and play an instrument as a fucking hobby and there will be a cool like rhythm mini game or whatever. Make them think they can do all this cool shit. It doesn't matter. They're all stupid. They
Well,
won't care when they get
that
their
was
hands on
from
with the
like
game and it's not there.
I'm sure that was just like made in developers' spare time, like way back when Rocker Boy might have been one of the classes that you could have been. And then, like week 2, they
It's
were
just
like,
strange.
cut
It's a very
that shit out.
strange development history.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I just don't get it. It's disappointing, but the game that's there isn't bad. It's just like you can see the good foundation. It's just depressing that a lot of that shit that we thought was going to be there isn't in there. That's where the majority of my complaints come from with this game because it's not like the technical stuff, like the bugs. I've encountered them. I've absolutely encountered a shitload of bugs. I have some video footage of some of the bugs I've encountered because they're fucking hilarious. Like driving down a street and my character T-poses through the top of the car, but they're naked, and I'm like driving, but I'm not in the driver's seat. I'm clipping through the fucking hood, T-posing with just like everything hanging out, just full and loose, and it's hilarious. That I haven't encountered anything that's like progression blocking, but I've encountered a shitload of jank bugs like that, and they're not the most disappointing thing about the game. Like the most disappointing thing about the game is all the content that I thought was going to be there that's not there, and yet the base foundation is still fun, and that makes it almost worse. Because like I am enjoying the game. I just wish all that other shit was in there, and then
Yeah.
it would be like a fucking 10 out of 10 experience. It sucks to like see what it could have been and to know that I didn't get any of that shit that's in those trailers.
Yep.
Despite the fact that the combat is still fun and like the story and the setting is still kind of interesting, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, because it makes it really hard to quantify. It's like they made a good game, but that's not the game I bought, you know?
Yeah. And who knows what's going to happen because they've said they put out a roadmap recently where they were like, listen, we're going to fix shit, we're going to fix bugs, and there's going to be like 2 free DLCs that are going to come out at some point, and nobody knows what the content of that's going to be. So like maybe we're just playing the early access version of the game without it being called early access, and maybe 2 of those free DLCs will just be some of that shit that was in the trailers that they're just going to put in like a few months from now, but it's impossible to know.
Too true. All right.
I'll give it a solid like 7 out of 10 though. The gameplay's fun. The combat's fun. It's not the worst game I've ever played. It's just a little lacking in the RPG area, but I still kind of recommend it. And I hope that they make it more of what I was told it was going to be in time. And that's like about all I can say.
Just hopefully it doesn't become like Sims expansion packs where it's like $5 and you get cars.
Yeah.
$5 you could go to a different city. And they do that for like 5 years, like $30 each.
So what you're saying, it's like a Paradox game
Oh,
with just a giga fuck ton of DLC?
I mean that model apparently works.
It does, unfortunately. Let's hope that's not the case. Let's hope those 2 free DLCs we've been told about just re-implement some of the shit that got cut.
Some of the cool
Here's
shit,
hoping.
Akimboed guns. It's just a $2 DLC.
Stop. Please, God.
and you can't. It does. You don't even alternate fire between the pistols. You just fire them both at once, so it uses the same like magazine counts. And
You're
ammo.
basically playing Tracer from Overwatch.
That's it. Yep. You can't mix and match. They literally. You pay $5 and you get one item, which is the akimbo pistols.
It's a legendary. That's it.
If you
So the
pick,
Dark Souls 3 version of dual wielding as
yes,
opposed to the Dark Souls 2 version of dual wielding.
yeah. So you get let's make up a gun where it's like the cyber gun. Like you could find two of those individually in the real game, but you can't akimbo them until you find the akimbo gun, which is just two cyber guns.
Dark Souls 3.
There you go. Oh man. Our next story is how stupid Twitch is.
I am excited. I'm sorry to bring
Go
it
ahead.
back really quick before we leave Cyberpunk. I am excited for some of you to like play it and play it a little bit more to hear your opinions on the content that is there.
I'll be honest, you've
Um,
kind of talked me into getting it because I mean, I knew about all the dead stuff, and that's disappointing. But now that is like reevaluated my way to go in, I hadn't heard much about the combat, and to hear that it's like actually really solid, especially in melee, which looked jank as fuck, makes me
Listen, there
go,
was a
huh?
there have been moments in this game, the combat going in, and I think we talked about this in some previous podcasts where we were like, the combat might suck, but the RPG stuff will be good, and it's hilarious that going in.
Yeah,
Actually,
good
the
point.
exact opposite.
Yeah.
The combat's fucking awesome. I've had moments in this game playing a melee character that are incredible. Where I'm like playing Revengeance 2.0, where I'm like jump because I have like the double jump cyberware, and I'm just like leaping over rooftops into crowds of enemies, hitting my slow motion cyberware button, spinning in a circle, murdering 4 dudes. Like slow mo wears off, double jump across the street, murder 3 more dudes instantly, and it's like, and then you stop at the end of that, and you're like, that was awesome. And it's like every combat is like that with my melee build, and it's fucking sick. And I highly recommend it just for that shit alone, because the combat is a lot of fun. And the way you can build your characters, massive variance in the ways you can play. Hacking is like insanely strong from what I've seen. I mean, it gets to the point late game where you can clear buildings of dudes without even walking inside because they're like all connected to each other, and your cyberware will just like your programs will just spread through them, and you can just rock combats without ever even touching them or like shooting a gun. Um, there's a bunch of crazy shit you can do. Melee builds can go anywhere from being like a Dexy reflex based build to something like what I know Matt's doing, which is more of like a strength build with like his gorilla arms and like hammers and shit like that. And he's more of like a brute kind of like tankish dude. And I'm playing this like crit based blades build and shit. And there's just like, and shooty builds can vary wildly depending on like what kind of shooting you want to do with what kinds of guns. And then your perks will be wildly different based on whether you want to use shotguns, rifles, pistols, shit like that. It really is a lot of fun. It feels fun to play. Like movement is good, the aiming is good. I do recommend it for that shit alone. And the story that's there is interesting. So it's kind of cool to hear you say that I talked you into getting it, because it is cool.
Nice.
I give it like a 7 out of 10 just based off the content that's there alone. It's just that some of that other shit not being there is unfortunate and brings it down a little bit. But I do enjoy the game, and I still recommend it. So I will be interested if you do get it to hear your opinion on it after you've played it,
Yeah, I'll
as
definitely
opposed
check
to
it
just
out.
you talking about it.
Especially because I'm shooty guy, so that'll be like a very, very different build. We had that conversation.
Yeah,
There you go.
but allow me to assure you, melee is insanely viable, and I'd argue possibly OP. It's
I
kind of
heard
awesome.
that. I heard that, but I also heard like it's the agility melee that's the most broken OP one,
It's
not like the
it's so
strength, not
it's
the
so
strength
good.
one.
The fucking slow mo like cyberware, just running around, dropping like half the room in like my 6 seconds of slow motion, and then just dealing with the rest because I'm critting massively. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think a weird like silver lining to this is that I could hear from you describing that you're like heartbroken, but then it's still a 7 out of 10, which is pretty fucking solid.
Yes. I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun to play. It's the biggest recommendation. It's the biggest benefit. It's the biggest positive I can list for you is that it is mechanically fun to play. And the story stuff that is there is interesting. So I do still recommend it.
So moving right along. Twitch is dumb. I don't
This is not
understand
new.
what they're doing. I blame the deer.
Me as well.
All back to the deer.
They
Put him
Oh,
on an
no.
island.
for
Oh
for
no.
for those of
Leave
you
the
not
her.
aware,
It's a her first of all.
there's been a
I
lot
said
of
them.
yeah. Ooh, what is more correct? That's an interesting.
Well,
I said them is in the plural.
I'll be
Oh,
honest. I
Because
think your
it's not
mic cut and it
that
sounded like you
individual.
said. It sounded like you said him. I think that's why Rob heard as well.
I heard of him as well.
I said them because plural, because I want them all on my premium world-class resort.
All right. Anyway, go on with the fucking story, please.
Let's just move on from
they
that.
they banned the words blind playthrough for inclusivity's sake.
Stupid.
It's incredibly dumb because, firstly, I don't know many blind people going on Twitch to watch video game footage.
How
So,
dare you?
like, I mean, I understand it. You could like the person and their voice and their personality, and then click a thing, and they're like, "Oh, I'm doing a blind playthrough," and then you cry a little bit because you can't see.
So am
But
I
You were
not
blind.
allowed to say, like, in any situation where I don't know what I'm getting into, I'm going in blind? Like, am I not allowed to say that?
correct.
No, you bigot.
You can't like tag your games in it. You can't tag
Anthony,
your
put a
streams
bigot
in it.
sign over Rich.
You
That's
have to
bigotry right there.
put like first playthrough or
Is
something
there
like
is
that.
there a way we can do the title of our video in like dots to simulate Braille?
I could probably find an English to Braille translator online, and I'll just do that.
No one will fucking know what our title is.
It's fine.
true.
Not even
What
the
a good
blind
way to
people
come
because
back.
they can't touch it.
You don't know.
It's not like the screen is 3D and pops out the braille for them.
Maybe it
I
is.
just don't know any blind guy who's just like screaming that we call it blind playthrough.
Well, I mean that's the thing is I feel like most of these policy changes are not the people being called them things, but people concerned for them, which is a virtuous thing when you get down to it, but it's also really stupid. Like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's a very common saying, and I don't know. I think this is completely a waste of time and resources.
Because of very snowflakey deer people that gain power in these organizations.
Oh, we have a snowflake drop.
Listen, I'm all for PC-ness, but
Damn.
like there is a level, and this is getting to that level. This is
I'll be
that
honest.
level.
I don't have much of an opinion on this because I don't really give a fuck. But I do think it's a little stupid to ban things like blind playthrough. I don't give a fuck that they ban stuff like simp because as somebody who does watch Twitch streams from time to time, it gets a little annoying in some of the more toxic chats of certain streamers to just watch people spam things like simp for like 5 hours, and
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
doesn't that just like they could just come up with another word? Like, does it fucking matter? Like,
yeah, no,
people
you're
are gonna
ban that
troll.
whole.
Stalker is
Well,
next.
okay, I only wrote down simp. You know the rest of the words that follow that?
I at one point had read this article and it's since left my mind.
It's simp, incel, and virgin.
Yeah.
Because virgins, they need that. They
What
need
if I want to give someone like a recipe that requires extra virgin olive oil?
Extra
What's your
banned.
cooking channel on Twitch?
No, here's the
And
thing.
you're like, I'm
We
my
can't
extra
do
virgin olive oil.
we can't do blind playthroughs, so let's do virgin playthroughs. Oh no. Oh
My
no.
simping playthrough.
My simp
banned.
through.
I know, like I said, I have more of a neutral opinion on this. I don't really give a fuck.
Does it affect me? Not at all.
No,
But
yeah.
just from my opinion is just that it's fucking stupid.
Yeah,
Blind playthrough is
Absolutely
the
true.
one. Sorry, not to cut you off. Blind playthrough is the one that gets me of all of them. I don't give a fuck that they ban stuff like simp or virgin or whatever. It's like, yeah, who gives a fuck? No,
Yep.
no one's going to be using the word simp or virgin in normal conversation in a Twitch chat. They're going to be spamming it in order to make fun of somebody. And I don't really give a shit that they ban that. I don't care.
Yep.
Blind playthrough is fucking stupid because that's terminology that's been used since the dawn of time in like gaming culture, and to get rid of it feels kind of strange.
And it's a good way to describe it too, because so here's the thing with a first playthrough. A first playthrough is not a blind playthrough because you could read up on a bunch of shit
Right. Yeah.
before a first playthrough. And it's not easy to convey the I'm going into this with zero information. You could just say that, but you could also just say I'm going into this blind.
That
And
was like
it's so much cleaner and like to the point of like
yeah,
what's going
it's
on.
like that was our Wolf Among Us fucking playthrough, dude. I literally knew nothing about that game.
Yeah, and there's documentation. It has been well documented that we knew nothing about that game because the moment the small frog man shows up, we lost our minds
I remember
because we didn't know a single fucking thing about it.
that was funny.
We were like, "What the fuck is this game?"
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess related to that though.
Blind playthrough. You know what getting rid of blind playthrough is kind of like? It's kind of like people who play Tarkov who refuse to use the word hip fire and instead are like, "You must call it point shooting." And I'm like, "Suck my dick." I have been saying the word hip fire
Wait,
for a
what?
decade. You don't know about this?
No.
It's a thing in the Tarkov community that if you're shooting without ADSing, it's point shooting. Don't call it hip fire because we're all milsim tryhards.
Yes.
You must call it point shooting.
Because you
Fuck
see
those people.
the gun is shouldered, so it's not hip
Right.
fighting.
I don't care. Because even in a game like where the gun is still shouldered animation wise, if I'm not ADSing, I will still call it fucking hip fire because that's just gaming terminology. I don't
Yeah.
care about whether or not I'm being realistic with my fucking terminology. It's fucking hip fire. If you're not ADSing, you're fucking hip firing. I'm never calling that shit point shooting a day in my life. Because I haven't done it yet, and I will not do it any point in the near future. But it's the same idea. It's like
Well, Brandon, there's some people born in this world without hips. So, for inclusivity's sake.
I've just been told I've been banned from Discord.
Oh,
Oh no!
he left.
Goodbye.
You didn't hear that. He left the
I
chat.
forgot the Discord sound doesn't show up.
That was good though. I explained it. It's fine. Very good.
Anyway, yeah, that's what banning blind playthrough feels like to me. It's like forcing to getting rid of a term that's been used for fucking ages, since time immemorial in the gaming community. And I have never once in my life used the word blind playthrough and in the back of my mind been like, fuck blind people. Ever. Like it's never even crossed my brain. I haven't used a single brain cell on a thought like that, saying the word blind playthrough.
I can't even really, maybe this is my lack of empathy, like get into the head of a person who is trying to imagine being blind, and you hear someone, oh yeah, they're doing a blind playthrough. Well, what the fuck is that? Oh, it means they literally know nothing about the game. Oh. Like that's it. That's the conversation. It's like
I'd like to point out to anyone listening to the podcast, I'm not an idiot. Okay, I have more than 2 brain cells. I understand that the problem is not that I'm saying it with some kind of venom. I understand that the problem is that even if I don't have any ill intentions by saying the words blind playthrough, that someone who's blind may simply take offense to it because they hear me say blind playthrough. I still don't. It's like it doesn't make sense. There's no like venom behind it. I don't think anyone who's has an impairment of that kind should take offense to someone saying the words blind playthrough because it's not meant with ill will and never has been. So why ban it?
What are we going to start calling blindfolds now?
That's a good point.
Can't use that. That's discriminatory.
Yes.
I don't give a fuck about the other words though. Whatever. Who gives a shit?
It's so funny because like people who don't know me, like I'm for like PC shit. I'm all for ripping down statues. Rob can fucking agree to that, or attest to that. But like shit like this, it's like, what the fuck's wrong with you, Snowflake? Like, damn.
Everyone has their line in the sand. It's just where it is.
My line in the sand is that fucking
people...
idiocy. Like some shit makes sense, others doesn't.
Yeah. But I'm sure, like, even these people, there's a point where they'd be like, that's dumb. But where that is and what it's about, who knows, and honestly, who cares? Also, poggers.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I forgot. It took my PogChamp.
You can't say that.
All right, hold on. For the first day of PogChamp being dead, the fact that they made Unruly the PogChamp on day one was pretty cool. And I know none of you know who that is, but that was pretty sick. Because he's a dude from Maximilian's stream who's not particularly well known.
No,
But
you
that
know
was
what?
very cool.
They came with a very excellent replacement. I think that was pretty good because it turns out a lot of people make that face. So
you guys
they
want to do me a
just
favor?
revolver roulette various streamers doing that whenever that happens.
You guys want to do me a favor?
Sure.
I'll admit I'm a bit under the rock on this. Why did PogChamp get banned?
Oh, I love it. All right,
It's
so do you know who
very-
Gootecks is?
No.
Gootecks is a very, very well-known member of the FGC. It's hard to talk about this without getting a little bit political. I'm sorry.
It's
I don't.
extraordinarily hard.
I don't like talking about politics on this podcast. I will tend to attempt to avoid it at all costs whenever we're recording. But for the purposes of this, we have to kind of bring it up. Gootecks is a man from the FGC. He's very known for working with Mike Ross. He's a commentator and an ex or maybe still professional Street Fighter player. He is the face of PogChamp. I almost said something and I had to back myself away for a moment.
Easy, Brendo.
So I'll put it more mildly. When a bunch of dickheads stormed the Capitol on January 6th, he said something, and I won't go into specifics, but he said something that was a little bit in support of the people storming the Capitol, and Twitch said, we can't let him be the face of PogChamp anymore. So they killed it. And then
I personally think it is dumb as fuck to say like this man now it represents this fucking emote.
Well,
I
no,
think-
he literally is. Like that,
Yeah,
it's
he
his
is.
goddamn face.
the thing
I
is,
think it's stupid that most people who see Pogface don't even know who Gootecks is.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
yeah, that's the one
More or less.
unfortunate thing about it, I guess, is that, or fortunate, depending on how you look at it, is that most people who use PogChamp don't know who he is, like you said, which is what I was gonna bring up. Is like who actually knew? I mean, I knew, and I bet you knew, Anthony. But like, most people who are spamming that shit in like Summit 1G's Twitch chat aren't like, oh, it's Gootecks, the FGC commentator, professional Street Fighter player. Like nobody knows who that guy is, and nobody saw that tweet.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that no one saw the tweet. So like for most people, it's just one day that wasn't allowed. If anything, it brought more attention to it, which, depending on your opinions of things, even that has a weird net negative effect.
I'll be really honest, and this might show my kind of political ideologies a little bit. I'm okay with that. I don't really care that Gootecks got removed as the face of PogChamp. I don't really agree with what he said, and I can kind of understand Twitch's stance on wanting to remove him. If anything, my disappointment comes from the fact that we just lost more like FGC representation in like mainstream gaming culture because one dude had to say some dumb shit on Twitch or on Twitter. You know what I mean?
FGC is getting some mad fucked on.
It's like
All the
first
pedophiles, and now
yes, you took the words out of my mouth. First, the Melee players are fucking kids, and now I got fucking Gootecks being like, "Yeah, storm the Capitol." It's like every day, more of the FGC gets nuked off the face of the fucking gaming planet. It sucks.
Yeah.
It fucking sucks, man.
Yeah, I think it's kind of stupid to remove him for that reason and whatnot, regardless of what I think about what he said. But I totally understand why Twitch did it. They didn't just, like you said that Twitch was like, and then maybe he shouldn't be the face of it. They didn't just do that. They got messaged by a lot of people.
Well, I think
a lot of
yes.
people.
First of all, you're right. There was probably a lot of people tweeting at Twitch being like, look at what Gootecks just said. Are you going to keep him as PogChamp? And then they've probably felt, and that's pure speculation. I don't know that, but I imagine that's what happened. And then they probably felt like they had to do it. On top of that, with everything that went down with like Trump being banned from multiple platforms for potentially inciting further action and whatnot, like they kind of had to do something like this. I don't see a world in which Twitch couldn't have gotten rid of him for saying what he said. Like,
but
the backlash would have been extreme.
No, but that's the thing, is I think that it's kind of like how YouTube sucks and every change they do is worse, but it is the platform. So I think Twitch would be in a similar situation. There would be a backlash, there would be an outcry, but I think Twitch would not cease to exist. They could have done either way, and they're taking heat either way, and they're getting praise either way. I think it's just everything is too big now. You know what I mean?
It's like I said, I can't go into this too much without exposing my fucking political dick for the world to see. But it's like I don't agree with what Gutek said. Frankly, I think it was kind of idiotic. I don't blame Twitch for doing what they did, but it just sucks for a major face of the FGC to be outed as a MAGA maniac and to have PogChamp be decimated as a fucking result. It just kind of hurts my soul a little bit. It hurts me deep in the penis, you know?
Deep.
And let's go on to more positive news now. The Monster Hunter movie.
Yeah.
Wow, so positive.
It's no, come on. What happened to this movie is goddamn hysterical, and I love it because we were all ready for this shit sucks and it's trash and it's a terrible, terrible cash in, and Capcom could have given it to anyone else and it would have been a better movie. So the story is there is a joke made by one of the characters. Okay, most movies make a shit ton of money in China, it turns out, because there's a lot of Chinese people.
It's a big market.
A translator made a joke a little bit more racy than it was, and it got banned in China. So it bombed everywhere else in the world because it's a terrible movie. Um, but they're not used to blockbusters like ours, so most things, oh, we'll make our money back in the Chinese market, and now that doesn't exist. So the movie's just a colossal, hysterical failure, and Tony Jaa continues to be cursed, and I want to save that man, but I cannot.
That's too late. He can't be
He
saved.
cannot be saved.
He made his bed.
He made his bed out of ivy and spiderweb to create a net. If only he had a trap tool, but it was he that was trapped. That was a weird series of Monster Hunter references that we're just gonna walk on past. I'm sandbagging my own joke.
I know.
This is kind of Richie's side story. Is the Spider-Man 3 craziness? The conspiracies are coming true.
It's not even conspiracies anymore. It's like all but confirmed the next movie's going to be a Spiderverse movie.
Can I just say that of all the stuff that came out about this, okay, that the most exciting part for me personally is that supposedly, and I haven't been keeping up on this, so maybe this rumor has already been shot down, or maybe it's been hard confirmed. It could go either way. I don't know. Maybe you guys can inform me. But the most exciting part about this is that they got the guy who played Daredevil in the Netflix Daredevil series to be in this movie, which implies that he's going to be in it as Daredevil, which further implies that maybe they're going to canonize the Netflix shows. And oh my god, my fucking cock would be so engorged with happy blood if that's true, dude. Like, please. Please. That's the best part. Like, everything else is cool, whatever. Spider-Verse movie, we canonize all the other fucking Spider-Man universe, cinematic universes, whatever. That's all cool. But like the fact that they got the guy from Netflix's Daredevil to be in the movie, probably as Daredevil, is so fucking cool, man. I would be so happy.
I hope that there's a Spider-Man 2099 reference.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
I bet they won't do that,
I bet
though.
you they won't.
They're probably not going to do that. It's just going to
Probably
be
not.
the movies and stuff. They'll be like, look, it's Andrew Garfield, suck our dicks. But, this Daredevil shit, man.
He was a damn good Daredevil. That was a damn
He
good
really
series.
was. I need to go back and finish it because I got like halfway through season 1 and then I stopped, and I really intend to finish it. But like, fuck, man.
I got
Those Netflix
spotty
shows
with
were
it, but
good.
everything I saw was so good.
even Jessica Jones was like really good, and if they canonize him, then kind of by proxy they're saying the rest of it's real,
Yeah,
and that would be so fucking cool, man.
we need more Luke Cage.
Yeah,
We
I
need to
didn't
drop
watch
some
that.
sweet Christmas elbows on some people.
I have to watch that show as well, and The Punisher.
Punisher is great.
But I didn't want to watch Punisher until I finished Daredevil to do it in
Understandable.
order, you know. But God, that's the most exciting fucking part of it, honestly. When I read that, I was like, oh, the immediate size of my giant boner. It grew 10 sizes that day.
It's always good more Spider-Man. I think they're on a good stride right now.
I
Like,
just love
I mean,
how they're getting everyone from the past to. The only thing that would like throw me over the top, gimme, which I don't think they confirmed. I could be wrong because it's been a while. But fucking William Dafoe, give me
that
him.
would be really cool. Godspeed, Spider-Man. Um, the next thing to talk about is the Game Awards. The Game Awards occurred, and there's some cool ass shit, and there's some shit that made people very upset.
I'm trying to remember. I'm actually trying because I know I posted some Game Awards stuff.
Well, let's get the main thing. I don't know about main thing out, but Sephiroth confirmed
Oh
in
yeah, for Smash.
Smash.
Oh, we're going back to like
Another
our
anime
first
sword
episode.
fighter.
Is this Smash Hour?
I guess so. We're bringing it back.
Listen, as I've said, I think I've said this before in the past. I think most people are kind of okay with sword fighters as long as they're not from fucking Fire Emblem anymore.
Well,
But
I,
Was
that's
anyone
the majority of
upset by seeing-
Fire Emblem characters. They use swords.
was anyone upset with Sephiroth? Like,
oh, a lot of people.
no, but there were probably a lot of people who weren't. Like, I know I was kind of hype at seeing Sephiroth. Like, that's a pretty cool addition.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I think what it's getting to now is people want new things represented. So even though it is like a just as important character and there's only like one other Final Fantasy rep, like
Yeah.
it could have been anyone. And
I feel
people
not to
would have been
interrupt, but
so mad. Go ahead.
yeah, not to interrupt, but like I feel like maybe this is Mika. I don't really pay attention to Smash, but like they add a lot of kind of like cooler, like edgy characters. Like, where's my fucking King Boo? Like, where's the other Nintendo characters that are a little more silly or goofy or kid friendly? Like, they add just a lot of like edge lords and cool people.
You're
Yeah.
not wrong. I think a
Steve
part.
from Minecraft is super edgy.
Fair counter, Rob. Actually, that's a touche right there. However,
To like everyone release though,
to support
and I did
kind of
say I was
support
ignorant to it, but
to kind of support what Richie's saying a little
Arms
bit
was
is
really
like,
brutal.
what do you mean?
That was another joke because that was another
Okay.
character part of the pack that was not. It wasn't as good as Robbie's. I'm sorry. I can't live
Part
up to
of
his shadow.
what I was gonna say is part of Sephiroth being added though is that they also put in help me, the guy with the name starts with a G from Super Mario RPG that everyone's been asking for years.
Yeah,
Gino.
Gino.
Gino. They
Oh,
put him in, but only as a skin for Mii fighters,
all
I
those
believe.
people committed suicide.
And like that kind of is in support of what Richie's saying, which is that people have been asking for Gino forever, and they put him in, but not as a character, as like a fucking skin for Mii fighters. That's very disappointing. Even I, someone who doesn't really give a shit about Gino, was like, yikes, that fucking sucks.
It's Isaac's time, baby. Golden Sun, let's go.
Also, they
Oh
added
God.
who the fuck was their name? Meanie, whatever the fuck from
Anthony, what,
Arms.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm looking right now. Let's see. All the characters added from DLC. Piranha Plant was the DLC.
That would
character.
piss even me off. I'll be straight.
I actually love Piranha Plant. I've played Piranha Plant. Piranha Plant is a fucking joke character, and I love it.
I would argue that Terry is kind of a cool addition that doesn't really fit the bill of edgy
Yeah, fair enough.
like character, and I really like the Terrys in the game because holy fuck, KOF rep.
Yeah.
We
And
have Hero from Dragon Quest,
yeah, that's true.
Banjo Kazooie.
That's also true. Yeah, there's a lot of characters that are not just edgelords.
I don't mean like edgelords, but you know what I meant. Like more.
More adult, like
Yeah, like idea
dark.
like they didn't add it, but like Dante or like Bayonetta, like Snake, fucking like Sephiroth, like those kind of characters.
Sweet Tooth.
Oh, God.
As opposed to like
All the DLC
Mario
so
characters.
far is Piranha Plant, Joker, Hero, Banjo Kazooie, Terry, Bailiff, Meanie, Steve from Minecraft, and Sephiroth. Those are all the DLC characters.
Yeah, that's not. There's a lot of.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm ignorant to their DLC. It's just I feel like when we talk about it, that's all I hear about.
I mean, supposedly the big rumor going around right now is that the next one might be like Ryu Hayabusa and not Dante. That's what people are speculating. I've
That'd be
heard
crazy.
speculate that.
I would still like Isaac. I really like Golden Sun.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
It's
You and
so
me are the
not.
only two people who remember that Golden Sun even exists
That's true. And then
on the
of
face of the
the
planet.
third person who knows Golden Sun exists would be like, not Isaac. He was only the protagonist for one game. It would be Felix, and we'd be like, shut the fuck up.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I only played the first Golden Sun,
Oh, there you go.
to be honest.
Do we want to mosey on next topic?
Well, okay. So
Well, I
there
mean,
was
we're
also
still on
trailers
Game
for
Awards.
things. The new Mass Effect, Perfect Dark, Callisto, which I didn't even see.
We were on
that trailer.
Smash.
No, that was shown off at the Game Awards. I bundled
Yeah,
it
we're just talking
together
about Game
because
Awards
I'm
stuff.
an idiot. I really should have probably been a separate thing. So
Sephiroth
technically,
was really the only Smash announcement other than like the other shit,
Oh,
like
You wanna
Gino
something?
and stuff.
you know something? I
No.
just figured this out by looking at the roster thing here. Pokemon and Fire Emblem have the same amount of representation. Mario is the first. I didn't know Fire Emblem Pokemon had the same number here. That's interesting. I wonder how much Zelda's got. Does Zelda have the same amount?
I
Two,
think it has
4,
less.
6. It is less. It is actually less than Pokemon and Fire Emblem. That's sad.
Pokemon I
That
can
is sad.
understand. Fire
Three of their
Emblem not so
people
much.
are Link. They have 3 Links even. God damn.
There's a lot of cool characters in Zelda games too that they could put in, but
Well, with Breath of the Wild, and they had that one game which was all about heroes, Hyrule Warriors or whatever the fuck.
the fucking Muso, like, yeah. Where's Tingle at? Where's playable Tingle?
Dude, I would main Tingle so hard.
Absolutely.
Oh, giggity.
Goose.
And then you got all your weird characters like Pac-Man, Duck Hunt, Mega
How
Man.
many I'm sorry. How many characters are left in the current DLC pack
Oh,
for that are not released?
I think
For
it's
Smash?
like 1, maybe 2. Like it's close to the end.
yeah, we only got 2 left, it seems.
All I'm saying is at some point in time, hopefully, because everything that Sakurai has been saying kind of implies that we're just going to keep getting more DLC for this Smash game as opposed to a new Smash game because him and everyone else recognizes that they've got something kind of insane going on here. So why would you start over with like a base roster? All I'm saying is at some point, hopefully, there will be a Devil May Cry rep in this game. And if that happens, we can finally learn who wins in a fight, Virgil or Sephiroth. The question that the world has always wanted to know.
I need
Who-
more Kirby representation.
Him too.
What's the matchup? Is it like a 7-2, like Sephiroth, Virgil? Is it
Final
fairly
Destination.
even?
I just gotta
No
say,
items.
Sephiroth can throw a meteor at people.
That's true.
That's a strong move.
Pretty strong.
Dante,
Virgil has Giga Weeb power though. Like he could probably cut the meteor in half or whatever
probably.
when he DTs, you know.
And he'd be like, I'm getting motivated.
And he can do it from a distance with a judgment cut.
Judgment cut the galaxy.
And then he'll kill Sephiroth with a judgment nut.
I honestly forgot Banjo Kazooie was in
In the
this one.
judgment butt.
God, it's been so long since I played Smash.
And that's how Nero was made.
Judgment nut.
Nut.
Uh, I mean, you guys are probably excited about Mass Effect. I gave up on that franchise long
Talk about
ago.
what
this?
would give you the
Didn't we talk
impression?
about this last podcast? Or
I
did I just talk to you about it, Brendan?
I remember us talking a little bit about how we're hopefully optimistic.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked about this, but
I
just
feel like we did as well.
quickly reiterate. I like that Liara's in it. She's my blue waifu. It's cool.
It's true.
I
Big booty bitch.
really hope, and from the looks of the trailer, it looks like it's going to be, but like I don't know. I really hope that it's like far in the future and has nothing to do with Shepard, but it probably will, and I think that's a mistake. But hey, whatever.
I am so like not. I'll build hype for this game when I see more about it, and I'm given things that will lead me to believe that it won't be a train wreck. But as of right now, I have literally nothing to go on, especially when it comes to BioWare, that would lead me to believe that it won't be a fucking train wreck. So like, why would I be excited?
I'm hopeful. That's
Yeah,
it.
it's too early to see. That's all it is.
I'm saying there's no reason to be like excited because like the last two things we've gotten from BioWare have been dog shit.
More than two.
And
But
well, really? I mean, Andromeda and Anthem. What else? What else did they do that was dog
I mean,
shit?
some people would argue that all the other games, like, although I have no problem with Mass Effect 3, people didn't like it. Dragon Age Inquisition, I think,
yeah,
was
some
okay,
people.
but 2 wasn't good. Like
Yeah, two was dog shit, but
they've been declining in quality ever since like fucking Mass Effect 2 and Dragon Age Origins.
I've gone on the record as saying that I can't stand two. I couldn't stand two back when it came out, but I was just talking like in recent memory. Like since their last decent game, which I would consider to be like Inquisition, they've pumped out some ass shit like Andromeda and Anthem. So I have no like. It's hard for me to build excitement when everything they've done in recent memory is trash. I can hope that it won't be trash. Do you think, here's a question. Do you think that what they're doing is they're just going to canonize an ending for Mass Effect 3 and they're just going to be like, yep, red ending was the one and Shepard's alive?
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
definitely.
Okay.
110%.
That's really the only ending they could canalize, because green solves everything, and blue, I guess you can go with
I
like a
feel
dystopic
like
version where the
when
council becomes evil because they have the power of the Reapers, but that's about all that can go
I
from.
feel like it's already been said, maybe by some people in some form at BioWare, that red is the canon ending. Like that's been mentioned before.
And who knows, because BioWare has bled talent. Casey Hudson and Mark Dara left. So
We just gotta wait and see. Who knows? Not saying they can't do it. It's just, like
maybe
you
they
said,
were the
past few
shitters. You don't know.
projects haven't been good things to go off of.
Mm.
Next.
But Bad Robot has a game studio.
Is that exciting? Question mark.
I mean, it's interesting.
There'll be a lot of lens
We now,
flare.
I mean, I'm amazed you don't have an opinion on this, to be completely honest with you, Mister. Is it exciting? Because I know you love J.J. Abrams.
See,
And now
I
he's
love
making video
J.J.
games.
Abrams so much that I don't ever look him up, so I don't know anything about this.
Well, J.J. Abrams is Bad Robot, and now he's making video games.
All right, cool. Well, the games are probably going to be unoriginal, unexpired, and unless he gets IPs that are already like taken and well developed, they're going to be ass. So,
Damn. Damn. Damn.
Brutal.
Yikes. He is working with a former Left 4 Dead developer, though.
I invite J.J. Abrams on our podcast to retort me.
Defend himself.
Yeah.
I guarantee you he won't.
Explain how you don't use Codex, J.J. Abrams. That was a weird meta joke.
He explains to me how he made one script he's got his hands on better. I'll concede.
You heard it here, J.J. Abrams. Come on.
Come on and defend
Come on
yourself.
now.
Come on and
Come
defend
on, you
yourself
coward.
on our very widely listened to podcast
And love.
that we're blowing you up on.
You know I'm putting that as one of the tags for this video, just on the off chance.
Hashtag J.J. Abrams sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm still on J.J. Abrams because I just looked up like things he did just so I could shit on them. And apparently he is the executive producer of the going to be Justice League Dark. So
Lens flare. It's
Who
fine.
knows how that's going to be? It might actually be good because he doesn't actually have to think while
It's it's
producing it because it's already
producing.
written
It's
for
not a
him.
writing
But
credit. It's okay. It's different. I like Vin Diesel. I mean, I
uh,
enjoyed.
unlike J.J. Abrams, I actually do like Vin Diesel and more Vin Diesel. That's fine. I'm
And
I
good
mean,
with that.
I have very few opinions on this because I never played Ark. So
to me, I always go
whatever,
back.
cool.
Is Vin is a cool nerd, and like this isn't his first foray into video games. All of the Riddick games are pretty damn good.
I mean, that one Riddick game on OG Xbox is legitimately incredible.
Oh
It's
yeah,
actually extremely
it'll
good. I
cut
used to
through
play
your
that game a
belly like
lot.
a soft-boiled egg. God damn it, it's a fantastic game. And he had a hand in that. That's one of the reasons why it was good. Like that was his studio.
That game had like one of the best, and still to this day, like one of the best melee combat systems in a first-person game
Yeah,
I've ever experienced. Like, and that was like pre-condemned,
it was.
and it was really good. Like it just felt good to play.
Now, hopefully, because Ark is not my favorite game, he does some good things with Ark. Because Ark has a cool concept. So I'm
Like,
hoping
like,
Weird spaghetti men ride dinosaurs.
like I
Because
said,
it
I've never
has a
played Ark. I don't
hysterical
fucking know anything
counter.
about it.
it has a very
Will
cool
Vin
concept.
Diesel ride a dragon?
Oh, for sure.
Like even all the expansions they made with all the different worlds that Ark has on it.
I didn't even know that existed.
You could. I'm surprised, Anthony, you don't play more Ark because you could be in a mech.
Hmm.
Yeah.
See, did not know this. I knew about dinosaurs.
Listen, Ark, when Ark first came out, I looked at it and I'm like, yo, this looks sick. I'm all about this game. And then I played it and I realized it is not what I thought it was. And then as they've gotten more expansions, it's just progressively gotten not what I thought it was.
Well, isn't it
What
basically
did you
just
think it
Rust
was?
with
It,
dinosaurs?
I thought it was like a survival game, and
Uh,
it turns out it's fucking not.
it kind of is.
It's not.
Air quotes. Survival.
well, what is it if it's not a survival? Because I always thought it was a survival game too.
Like, I don't, it's action builder.
Action builder.
I don't
Okay.
know, but I would not like the Forest is a survival game.
I love
Fucking The Isle is a survivor game. Like Ark is not a survivor game. Like fucking Stranded or whatever fuck Raft is even a survival game, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
I want people to
But
play Raft.
Ark is not a survival game. Like when you're fucking building bases on the back of dinosaurs with turrets, I don't know, it's not a survival game.
Why you can do stupid and ridiculous stuff in the forest and build shit.
It sounds like you're saying it's more like a Rust kind of
Yeah.
game,
Yeah,
I've
it's
but
never
very
played
Rust.
Rust, so
I
I
think
don't know.
Rust is still kind of classified as like a survival game, a little bit, or is it not? I don't actually
I
know.
think
It
is.
is.
Yeah. It's
It's just like light survival. It's not like
it
hardcore
is. It's
survival.
not hardcore survival
Well,
because once you
people
get
would
the basics
argue
down,
that could it be more hardcore because base raids become a mechanic that you have to deal with. So,
I think my problem with Ark not being a survival game is just the ridiculousness of things you can do. Like when you're literally riding in a mech robot punching out a T-Rex, is it really a survival game at that point?
well, you don't start like that.
It's true.
it's
It's
building
like
up to that.
saying Minecraft isn't a survival game because you could eventually get a pimp ass automatic castle and like not have to worry about anything.
I don't know. It's like I'm just saying it's the degree of ridiculousness.
No, that's fair. That's yeah, where it goes beyond just a survival game to
I get that, and I get to an extent that what got me with Ark is just the stupidity of the AI.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
The AI
Hey,
that they
maybe they
made,
changed that though in Ark 2.
and
Who
that's
knows?
what I'm
Vin
really
Diesel's on board now to oversee that AI development.
the design of the creatures though, and like the actual story, air quotes, in the game. I love the
I think
design of
the
the
story.
creatures.
I think the design is okay. It's nothing incredible.
Well,
But
in the newer
for
world.
for the original stuff, I'll argue is very good. But like for their modeling of actual dinosaurs, it's okay.
Well, I'm talking about the newer stuff, like
Yeah, but like the mechs, they look cool. The fucking like Reapers and the fucking underground expansion, like all that shit, all their original content is actually very cool.
I think Genesis looks beautiful.
Um,
I think
but yeah,
Genesis
no,
looks
the
beautiful.
story has always been cool.
Ragnarok looks beautiful. I think a lot of their shit looks very beautiful. The Crystal Wyverns look
You know
beautiful.
what else looks beautiful? Vin Diesel. More Vin Diesel.
Yeah. I think
Wow.
they have a good foundation. They need to work on some more of their basics though, like the AI being shit.
You know that Vin Diesel is gonna play every tree in that game?
Um,
Eyebrow Groot joke.
yeah,
Pretty good.
highbrow.
Superman.
But there's a lot in the game that is good, but there's also things in the game that aren't good. And I think that its negatives do impact it a little bit more.
I mean, we're talking about Arc. Now it's Arc 2, man. The fucking possibilities are endless. I could fucking, my foot could be put in my mouth. I got all these complaints about Arc 1. Maybe Arc 2 comes and it blows my fucking mind. You never know. Vin Diesel's part of it now.
It's true. I like that you literally start off with a man with nothing and you got literally sticks and clubs, and then you can advance into this tech because you're literally just in this fucking globe owned by aliens. I like it.
Aliens.
Sick.
Put that fucking in this part. Just put the guy from the History Channel being like,
Oh, you
"Alien."
don't. It's already there.
All right, good.
What's next?
The next is the weirdness that is the PS5 launch and the state of the world we live in. So, the
Oh, how well.
PS5's launch is weird because, and a lot of people suspect that this is because of scalpers, because scalping technology is now hyper a thing. Um, so it smashed sales records. It outsold the PS4, but after that, its production, the sales have like fucking died, like week by week, just because there's none. And the more alarming thing is everyone knows consoles are sold at a loss, and they make it up in software. The attachment rate for the PS5 is something like one game for every three PS5 sold, which is nightmarishly bad. Especially because that is any game. That's even like the remastered versions of like older games and stuff. So a lot of people think a lot of inventory is just in the hands of scalpers, and people aren't buying games because of it. Like
I believe it.
it's shocking and weird, and it's this weird quasi state of, oh, this is like one of the best selling Sony consoles, but then like the month finish and it's like, oh, this is one of the worst selling, and then the attachment rate, and I think Xbox is facing something similar, where like initial sales were incredible, but then it just died because there's just not enough stock and it's not being produced in enough numbers, and then you have all these scalpers and bots buying them up, and it's I don't have any hard data on that, but I do have the hard data on this, and it is alarming and concerning.
I have to imagine that with what we know about how scalping affected the like GPU releases of 2020, I have to imagine that it's been a similar situation with the consoles. Like scalpers had to have taken a large cut of those
Mhm.
consoles. It would be the most, I don't know, realistic explanation for why game sales look the way that they do in relation to console sales. Now we know for a fact that these companies suck ass at stopping scalpers from getting a significant chunk of their inventory at launch. So that's probably what's up.
The
Please
next,
tell me you're going to talk about what I think you're about to talk about. Please.
the KFC console was
Yes.
fucking real. It was fucking
Listen, dude.
real.
Today, nothing
Yeah.
surprises me.
I'm so happy.
No, you know what's the most surprising thing? It's pretty fucking decent.
Is it really?
It is not a bad system. Hang on, let
I
me look
love
at this.
how. Hold on. I have the YouTube video up for KFC console. The KF console, sorry.
Hmm.
It says in the description, the console wars are over. Introducing the KF console. Power your hunger. What a bunch of fucking madmen, dude. If you at home, one of our 6 viewers are listening to this right now, and you don't know what the fuck we're talking about, I implore you, go look up the KF console and watch the trailer they put out.
I'll be honest, I never did that, and I'm doing it now, and I realize the channel's name is KFC Gaming.
Yep.
Is this the
Oh, get
start
ready.
of the?
Are you watching the
is
trailer
this
right now?
the- I have it paused, but I wonder, is this the start of the cyberpunk dystopian future where like megacorps are taking over? Like, is this it?
Richie, keep watching the trailer. Wait until the end. It gets real sick. I'll wait. I'll be here.
It's got a chicken chamber.
Hell fucking
Oh
yes,
my
it does.
God.
It heats your chicken for you as you game.
Cross-platform
That's
compatibility.
Wait, what? Wait, is this better than any of the other platforms?
So I'll be honest, and maybe Anthony can enlighten me and the rest of us and everyone listening a little bit more, because it's been a bit since I've looked at it, and I'm imagining you just did. I'm not up on my specifications when it comes to this fucking thing. I don't know how it works. From what I understood, I thought it was calling it a console was a little strange, because I think it's basically just a pre-built PC, isn't it?
Yep.
Or am I wrong?
It's basically just a PC.
Okay. Does it have its own like what happened?
What?
We're good.
Good?
I
Okay.
literally didn't even hear anything. What happened?
No, Rob left
Oh.
briefly. Does it have its own like what does it run on? Like, does it have its own UI and shit? Like, what is this fucking thing?
I think it's just standard. I don't. You could just slap a skin on it, any sort of like Linux thing, or even just a Windows thing. So I think that's what they're gonna do. But what it has is, it has an Intel NUC 9 Extreme Computer Element, which is basically an overclocked to fuck Intel i5-9300 processor. Along with a goddamn Asus graphics card. I think it's a 2700S. And 2 TB Seagate Barracuda SSDs. So it's really good. The chicken chamber is the funniest thing in the world, because what it actually is all the heat sinks just point down, and that's where you put your chicken.
Yeah. It's incredible, dude.
That's brilliant.
I want a KF console, bro.
But yeah,
Fucking
it's
brilliant.
it's
I want it so
surprisingly
bad.
okay.
You know what the best part about it is too? That's kind of insane. I'm on their website. I'm on the Cooler Master website, because apparently they make it. And I'm reading about it, and apparently the GPU is fully customizable. Like, you can take it out of the PCI slot,
Yep.
and you can put in another GPU.
Yep. Brandon, you can remove your 3080
And I could put it in a KF console?
Yes.
Oh my god, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I could be heating my chicken right now, dude.
And playing something.
Oh, fuck.
What's wrong with you, mate?
When I saw this, I lost my shit.
You should have.
The moment in the trailer where the fucking slot opens and there's just chicken coming out of the console, I just lost my mind, dude.
That's so beautiful.
It really is.
There's something wrong with this world.
Man has gone too far or not far enough. I don't know which.
I'm telling you, this is the start of the dystopian cyberpunk future, dude. Megacorps, KFC will be giving us chicken end games. Like, it's just the start, dude.
I love it.
This is the beginning. When does KF Pharmacy come up and they start like giving us medicine?
with chicken.
making the cures for cancer or some shit like
In chicken.
This is literally going to lead to the future of Demolition Man, where there's
every
the franchise wars.
every prescription comes filled with a side of mac and cheese.
I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's pretty goddamn incredible. I just love that it's actually like okay and not like a terrible waste of money. Because they could have done that, you know? It could have
people
been
would still have
really
bought it.
easy. But no, they actually did the real thing. It's amazing.
And people will buy it. Now, how many people? I have no idea.
I want to get a KF console, dude.
Mate, if you get a KF console, you have to give us a review.
You do.
Just like the gamer gum, you have to give us a review.
Hmm.
Do you think people will just like turn on their KF console and run a game and just do like benchmarks with no intention of playing, but just to heat up their chicken?
Occasionally.
I hope so. Some madman out there is gonna just ditch his microwave because he has a KF console.
He's like, I can just leave
Just
these.
use it as like a ghetto air fryer.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me of fucking something I saw. It was like the freaking meme format where it's like my parents at 23, let's have a baby and get a house. And he's like, okay. Me at 23, it can fry anything. It's a fucking air fryer. Uh, it can fry anything. I'm like, I relate to this too much.
Get ready for my KF console review coming soon.
Forward to it.
Keep coming back, people.
I'm sure
You know
the
what? I'm
viewers are
gonna
looking
I'm
forward
gonna
to it,
shuffle up
right?
the order just because it's thematic. Talking about dumbass things. Razer is making masks, and they have
All right, this shit is
LEDs.
retarded, and I would love to talk about it. I gotta go take my dog out though, so
Okay.
you could continue without me if you want.
Have you guys seen it?
I have not.
I will be back.
Oh, it's pretty.
I mean, the wheels of capitalism spin eternal.
Razer. I don't know what, cause they had the fucking credit card. Now they have masks. Like,
What happens in the next like 6 to 8 months when we don't need the masks anymore? Hopefully,
When people
are they just going to be
become-
making them waiting for the next pandemic, or maybe tinfoil hat conspiracy theory? The government is going to start churning out pandemics, and we'll keep wearing the masks forever.
I mean, either way, Razer's got you covered. If it's for a little bit or if it's forever.
Throw
or
me
if
on
you
a
just
fucking
wanna-
QAnon board right now.
or
The
if you-
government is producing these pandemics to sell you masks.
Or if you just want to have a good time and go to the latest cyber goth rave in your Razer game
That's
mask.
true. How much are they going to cost?
I haven't seen that yet. I mean,
they look like you're gonna fucking rob someone.
Honestly, I'll admit, I like them.
They have N.
yeah, they look very cyberpunk.
Yeah,
Like there's
Like
needless
maybe that's why I
LEDs and
like them.
everything.
But
they have lights in them. You can customize the light rings around the ventilation pods.
Thank God we're not stuck with the stupid Razer green. It still burns me that I have a Razer mouse, and it's a Razer Death Adder, but it's not a
Like-
Razer Death Adder. It's a Razer Death Adder Chroma.
like, all right, so check it from this as someone who works with the general public very frequently, the ability to have on this mask and then be like, sorry, you need to speak up. I can't hear you. And instead of taking the mask off and getting closer to me, they just could turn up the volume on their speaker. It's fucking incredible. It's next gen, dude.
Yeah, the because I'm a crazy survivalist now, the mask I'm looking at has like a speaker for that very reason. It's unfortunately very expensive, but yeah, it's just such a no-brainer. It's like, yeah, put those fucking in them.
True.
I, for one, dig them. Smart move, Razer. Just
I'm
don't make
really-
it too expensive.
I'll
I'm
buy
really
it with
on
your
Razer's
credit
sides.
card,
Yeah, I'll put
and
it on
I'll
the
only
credit
take it off to pop in your gamer gum. Is there a slot? Is there going to be a slot for gamer gum that you just feed it in without taking it off?
Well, it comes with a sanitation station, so they're going to be relatively expensive.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's unfortunate. Well,
But
who knows? If the total kit and caboodle isn't too bad, it might be better than alternatives.
otherwise, they're not giving a full price yet.
Oh my god, what a fucking thing.
I'm literally on their site looking at it. But I can put in for a notification to know when they're ready.
Ring that bell.
Just like you should ring our the
Yeah,
bell for the
speaking of
channel.
notifications, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, do other shit. I don't really care. But you should.
What's next?
Um, NVIDIA cards and why they're nightmares. I actually like learned about this, and I thought that this was kind of cool. So the first thing is let's talk about the new cards. Is they announced that 3080 Ti not happening. Sorry, those of you who are waiting for it, the expanded RAM version, they just shelved that indefinitely. It'll come out eventually, but not anytime soon. Um, but they are releasing the 3060. Now this is really
Alright.
funny. So the 3060 Ti is already out, and it has 8 gigabytes of RAM. The 3060 regular has 12 gigabytes of RAM in it. So, and there's a reason for that. So, it's just funny because a lot of people look at that and they just assume that the regular card is better than the Ti, but there's a little bit more to it than that. 3060 Ti's are failed 3070s and 3080s. It's really difficult to print out a 7 nanometer computer chip, so when they fuck up a couple of cores, they just disable those cores and they sell it as a worse product. Um, Often, if you see that like CPUs in weird kind of like chipsets where it's like, why the fuck is this a 6 core and not an 8 core? It's because no, they made the 8 core one and then a part of it fucked up. So they just turned off 2 cores and now it's the 6 core one. That's literally all it is. And so that's what the TIs are. It's the chipset of the higher boards, but on uh, parts of it are broken, and also um, it's not bundled with like as good RAM and things of that nature. Um, and apparently that's why 3080s are so hard to get. It's like scalpers aren't helping, but the reason why when new shipment comes out, it's only like a dozen cards each time is apparently there's some sort of major manufacturing issue, and it's not because of COVID. It's not because the factories are shut down or anything like that. It's they're literally having problems producing these cards,
Hmm.
and and they're not getting the stock that they need. Um, and who knows when that's going to resolve because the demand is still that high, but
That's crazy.
it can't be produced like other chipsets have been. So much so that they're actually bringing back. They stopped production of things like the 2060 and the 2060 Super. They just kicked up those machines again because they cannot produce the new series of cards. It's a really crazy thing. I've never seen like or even heard of like such a manufacturing based snafu. Um, like I don't know, it's so weird. Just think about that. Like these are the machines churning them out. Like it's an actual assembly line, and there's just that many errors, and let alone the ones that they can't even recycle into 3060 Ti's. The ones that they just have to scrap, those exist too. Who knows what the hell's going on? But yeah, it's not good. And on top of all that, tariffs expired. So all the 30 series cards have gone up in price on top of all this. It's a nightmare. It's really bad. If you're in my shoes, I just upgraded my PC. I'm still using my old 980, not even Ti, my old 980 graphics card in it because Christ, I want a 3080, but they don't exist. Well, they exist, but they're being sold for the same price as like a 3090, and fuck that. And it's grim times, boys. You gotta buckle in.
I mean, I just upgraded my video card and I'm happy.
Yeah, I think what I got will be good. If anything, it gets to save me money because I don't have to upgrade my display. I'm still running out of my TV. Because my 980 is good enough for like 1080, 60, and that's all my TV can do anyway, so I'll take it.
I think I'm good for quite some bit until, until anything else goes on this baby. She'll be good.
Yeah, probably.
That's the whole point. I just got her good enough to last for another probably few years. No games actually that I play especially are that graphically demanding that they're going to need anything higher.
Yeah, that's true. Not much to
I mean,
look
like,
forward to.
what do I think I have like what the 2060 Super. I don't think I need an upgrade. I'm good.
Nah, not for a bit. Unless you, again, like higher frame rates and higher resolutions. I think 4K is stupid. I'll go out and say that. Like 2K, you get some benefit from. I mean, 4K you do too with the pixel density when you're that close to the screen. It's not like a TV, but still, I don't know. It's like how fine do you need that to be realistically, and like not enjoy it? Frame rates or something else, but even then, like you can get pretty high frame rates. It's like texture quality is a little bit down. Oh well, you're not using ray tracing. Oh well.
I'm back,
Welcome back.
All right,
and
he's
I'm
back.
frigid.
So on to the next news. Bamco is making the most expensive game they've ever made, which is neat.
Yeah, I wonder what that means.
What does that mean?
Is it Giga Tekken 8, or is it what else could it be?
yeah, well, I mean that's the real thing is no one knows because it's like other details really haven't come out about like which sub developer of theirs is it and what genre it's gonna be. But I mean Bamco has a lot of money and it's interesting that they're like dipping their toe into like kind of like the triple A level because most of their stuff is like double A, I would say.
Uh, I mean, it's interesting that Harada is apparently the director.
Oh yes, that is very
So I mean,
interesting.
Tekken comes to mind, but I'm sure Harada's worked on other stuff I'm not familiar with. So who knows?
Maybe it's
What
gonna
else
be
does
the
Bandai Namco? This
sickest.
is gonna be a really stupid fucking question.
Sure.
What does Bandai Namco develop in house other than like Tekken and like Smash Bros? What else do they do?
I do not know off the top of my head. I'll be entirely honest. Let me see.
We both don't know.
I mean, I know like they own the Gundam license, so probably any Gundam game has been in-house if it were.
Wikipedia is not helping me because it lumps developed and published into the same list, and that's not what I need.
Scarlet Nexus, which I haven't heard of until I clicked the thing because I'm
Do they
also on
develop
Wikipedia.
Ace Combat, or do they just publish that?
Let's find out. Developed Bandai Namco Studios. Nice.
Wow, must be Ace Combat then.
They're doing the Strange Reel. I didn't realize that they had so much shit under their belt. Oh, they're making a new dot hack game. That's what it is. Oh, damn it! It's not even.
Obviously,
It's not developed by them. That's wrong on two fronts. Oh well. Yeah.
Sword Art Online. Oh, they don't develop it either. They just publish it.
Yeah. Who knows what that is? Who knows if it'll even be good? Keep your eyes out for it if you like Bamco stuff.
Extremely expensive Tekken 8. Calling it.
Cross. I'm laughing too much to get this out. It's the crossover you've always been waiting for. Tekken 8 and Ace Combat together at last.
Tekken Cross Ace Combat. Listen, we know you all hated Street Fighter Cross Tekken, so we're doing one better.
Jin Kazama's just gonna like fucking lightning punch an F-16A.
I'm ready. And it's got a giant budget
The
for
biggest.
some reason.
Oh man.
Yeah, let's be real. It's not Tekken 8. We all know it's not Tekken 8 because fighting games get like doo-doo budgets 9 times out of 10. So it's definitely not Tekken 8.
Or it could be like
It's absolutely something else.
it could be the like ultra nightmare version of this that they're just pouring a bunch of money into like a shitty mobile game.
Or it is Tekken 8 and all the money is going to every other facet of the game but its netcode because that's what Japanese developers do. So it'll be the most beautiful, incredible, most realized version of Tekken there has ever been, with incredible new mechanics, a massive roster. The game will look gorgeous, but you still can't play it online because the netcode sucks cock.
Yeah.
Incoming.
Killzone's dead. That sucks.
Goodbye, Killzone.
I don't know if I would say it sucks. I really liked the first one. It was a jank piece of shit. Second one was pretty solid. Third one was meh. I never played the Shadow, whatever the last one was. Um, Hellgas were the good guys. I'll go to my grave saying that. And that's it. Let's move on. We'll never see them again. Alloy has eaten them.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
This one makes me very excited. Lucas Arts fucking lives again.
Yeah.
Is making an Indiana Jones game with Microsoft money.
Can we just lump? Okay. All right. Indiana Jones game with Bethesda Microsoft money, right? Okay.
Right.
Can we just talk about how LucasArts is back and they're doing this? And on top of that, can we just lump in the fact that EA is very likely not retaining their exclusivity with Star Wars license?
Yes,
And
let's lump that in.
how both of these things could kind of go together
Yeah.
massively, and how incredible and exciting it is that we might get awesome Star Wars games in the future that aren't terrible.
I hope so. I mean, it sucks that it's Ubisoft of all things, because they don't. I don't know. I'm not a.
They don't have a good track record
Yeah,
either,
I'm
but
not hyper jazzercised. I don't want to play Watch Dogs, Star Wars.
I'm not excited about this news because I just want to be clear. I'm not excited about this news because like, oh, Ubisoft's making a game. It's not like EA. Cool. Like I don't care about that. I care about the future implications going forward because they could give that shit to whoever the fuck they want. We could get another Obsidian made Star Wars RPG in like the coming years, and that's
Oh,
entirely within the realm of possibility.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
fucking
very
amazing.
exciting. Will that happen? Probably not, but like I can hope, you know?
Yeah, let's not talk about probability. Let's just hope.
I mean, what else do I gotta hope for? All I have is an Ubisoft developed game, but I have to consider the hypothetical, which is that means EA ain't got it no more, and they're probably not just gonna give it to Ubisoft over and over and over again. They'll very likely ship it out to other people too, in a very Games Workshopian fashion.
Mm.
So one could hope we get a decent Star Wars RPG to rival KOTOR.
One could say A New Hope.
Uh,
Wow.
wow, you went there.
Um, fuck, I'm so bad at pronouncing Japanese names. Takeya Imamura retires.
Takaya Imamura.
Yes, very good. There's no disrespect at all in our terrible racist pronunciations. of
I
names.
shouldn't have put the accent on it. That was a rough spin.
It's okay.
Cancel
So,
me now.
for those of you who don't know this guy, he's the reason F-Zero exists. He drew fucking Captain Falcon. He drew Tingle. And for some reason, that's
Oh,
what
our
most
new Smash main.
Yeah, that's true. That's why he's for sure going to be in. That's why he's for sure going to be in Smash because that's the send off to this legendary man.
In his honor, here's Tingle.
All the Star Fox crew. This man did a lot of crazy good things. Interesting side note: almost everything that he's touched is dead now. But I mean,
So he's cursed, is what you're
it's
saying.
yeah. It's probably like he's spent the last 10 years being like, "Come on, make another one. Come on, come on."
Alright, fuck it, I'm out.
Look, all right. I understand you want to go realistic with Breath of the Wild, but look at this really gay character. You could put him in; he could be anywhere. And then they were like, "No." And it's like, shit. I quit. I retire. Respectfully. That's the Camels versions of events, which means that's real life.
Falcon. Pow!
Yes, Falcon retire. Valve remembers that it used to make video games, and it talks about that for a little bit.
Yep, I mean, that's pretty much the story. Gaben was like, hey man, we made Half-Life Alyx. Gaben did an interview recently. He said, hey man, we made Half-Life Alyx and people liked it, and they remembered that we make games, and we liked making it. It was fun. We have other ideas, and we're probably going to put out more stuff in the future, but we're not going to tell you what that is. And then the interview ended. Speculation intensifies. Will it be Left 4 Dead 3? Will it be Portal 3? Will it be Half-Life 3?
Will
I don't know.
it be anything with the number 3? Is it
Do you
gonna...
think they'll stick to the joke? Do you think if they put out another Half-Life game, it'll be like canonically like it will be Half-Life 3, but they won't call it that? They'll call it like Half-Life and then like a subtitle, just so that we never get Half-Life 3. You know what I mean?
the E in Half-Life will be the number 3. They'll
No,
bring
that still
it back.
counts. There's a 3 in the title. They can't do that. I mean, like they really got to stick to the joke. Like
Third,
no threes anywhere.
third life. It's less than half. More than 1. That's my guess. They're gonna come
I'm just
out.
saying if
They're gonna come out with Ricochet 2 or Architect 2, whatever that terrible. We loved it so much, we made more of that bad shit.
Team Fortress 3.
No, it's like, you know, in sequels they just like do the name again. So it's like Team Fortress 2. 20 years go by, Team Fortress. Counter-Strike 2.
CS:GO 2.
The polls.
Valve's gonna make a game again, I guess. Pretty exciting.
Index
Please be excited.
3. This stuff I don't know about. Someone else has got to lead. Moon Knight. Oscar Isaac is Snake in Metal Gear, and the Snyder Cut. Some more information. Little movie
I don't know shit about the
roundup.
Snyder Cut, but the Oscar Isaac stuff is pretty simple. He's Moon Knight, and Ethan Hawke is gonna be the villain in the Moon Knight Disney Plus series. I don't think we know who that villain is yet, but Ethan Hawke is cast as the villain.
Just
And
cool.
there's
I
also
like Ethan Hawke.
yeah, I like Ethan Hawke too. You don't see him in a lot of like big shit anymore. But I like him. And I think Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight will be interesting. I haven't seen a lot of stuff with Oscar Isaac in it, but I know who he is. I know what he looks like. So I'm interested in that. I'm even more interested in the fact that apparently I had no idea about this. It seems it was talked about in the article I linked as though everyone knew but me. And I don't know how that's possible, but apparently there's a Metal Gear movie that's being made. And Oscar Isaac is Snake. And he kind of looks the part. I can kind of get behind that to some extent. I see that man in like Dune trailers, and I'm like, yeah, I could put a headband on him and pretend that he's Snake. He's pretty fucking close. So that's cool.
I wonder.
I had no idea a Metal Gear movie was being made. The article was like, yeah, there's a Metal Gear movie. We all knew about it. But Oscar Isaac is Snake. And I was like, what? The fuck? Snyder Cut I don't know shit about. So
I
I
get
don't even
a
know
little
what that
bit.
is.
I mean, it's just the last thing I heard about it was it was going to be a 4-part mini series.
A fart part.
Yeah, 4-part mini series. That idea has been scrapped. It is now just going to be a 4-hour long movie.
That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted a Lord of the Rings experience out of my fucking DCU movie.
I I don't know. One, let me say I'm very excited for this.
I'm
Very
not.
excited. Two, I don't know how turning it into a 4-hour long movie is gonna like how that meshes with like is this just like at this point do we call it the Schneider cut or is it just a fucking reboot new movie? Like the Schneider cut was supposed to be just like some like altered or some new scenes to kind of like get close to his vision of what he wanted Justice League to be, but he couldn't, so he left. And now it just seems like wow, 4-hour straight long movie. Like,
Holy
is it
shit.
just like Justice League? Just
No.
are we pretending the last one didn't happen?
No. I
And
figured
this
it out.
is it.
I figured it out just now.
Uh,
This is what it is. And this is why it was very important things happened in this order. So, it's gonna come out, and it's gonna be bad. And then people are gonna be like, if only it was that series. Where's the Snyder cut? That was a
and then a year from
series.
now, we get the mini series that's
Exactly.
even more re-edited, more reshoots, done by someone else to further improve it. I see what you're saying. They're gonna milk this bitch for fucking 3 years. Oh my god, you figured it out. Oh, your fucking IQ is huge.
It's literally
Holy fuck.
it's literally like a cult of personality, but in like the shape of a movie or a script idea.
Oh my god, you did it. I so help me God. If this fucking thing comes out and a year afterwards we're like there's like shit reviews and it sucks ass and a fucking year afterwards they're like, "Yep, now we're going to give you the miniseries that you actually secretly wanted with more reshoots and more editing." I will lose my fucking mind.
If I called this, I will lose my mind.
I will lose my shit.
It'd be so good though.
Also, to give you my answer to your question, Richie, I don't think anybody working on this Snyder Cut, anybody behind it who's just even tangentially related to the fucking Snyder Cut, I don't think anyone remotely close to this movie actually knows its canon state or whether or not it's just a complete reboot and whether or not the previous movie will matter more than this one. Because to be completely honest, at this point, I don't think anyone gives a fuck. I feel like the DCU is so fucked up in terms of like what's canon, the fucking timeline of events, the changing of hands of writers, and the way things have just worked out, especially with like that most recent Wonder Woman movie and like the clusterfuck that apparently is. That like I don't think anyone gives a shit about the state of canon of the fucking Snyder Cut. I think it's a fucking twinkle in people's minds, to be honest.
Well, I'm hopeful.
Just saying.
I think that's it. I think I think that's where we cut it. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love this.
hopeful.
I love the supercuts of people reviewing Wonder Woman 1984, where they're like, "Yeah, man," and like Red Letter Media brought this up, and so did a bunch of other people, where they're like, "Hey, do you remember in the fucking Justice League movie where they were like, yeah, Wonder Woman went into hiding between the events of her first movie and like modern day, and like no one found her. It's crazy. Look at these old pictures. Who's this broad? What is she doing in these old fucking World War One photos? Pretty crazy." And then you get Wonder Woman 1984, where she's just beating up bank robbers or just like fucking thugs in a mall, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Are these movies anymore? No one cares, dude.
I think the real problem. I don't think that no one cares. I think it's just like writing teams are starting to get treated like developers. It's like, all right, you finished, you're fired, and then the people who are hired to write the new one didn't watch the last one. But and
That's my point. They're bad at their job, Anthony, because there's a lot of other series where writers could change hands and they would care enough. You know what I mean? About the material that came before it to put in the work
yeah, but
and
that
have
costs
things
money.
make sense. They obviously didn't give a fuck. So I don't think anyone gives a shit about what is or isn't canon in the fucking Snyder Cut. They're just slapping together a movie for your 4 hours of entertainment.
But
I'm
hey,
cynical. I hate these movies.
I mean,
Fuck.
I haven't been a fan of any of the DC movies really. I didn't watch the first Wonder Woman, which I heard was okay. Um,
Yeah, that one's supposedly pretty good. But
I didn't like.
The first one was good. I enjoyed it immensely.
I really didn't like any of them. Uh, I saw
the Joker's
Aquaman
good, but
and
we've been
stuff.
over the
Right?
precedent
Yeah.
of that not being a DC Universe movie. So
Yeah. Even that's weird when you think about it. Like compared to the Marvel universe, where they're still going with that. Like they didn't like Spider-Man: Far From Home. Like that could have just been like a fucking Spider-Man movie, but no, it's like it's still tied in. And then it's like, yeah, we're gonna just make the Joker movie and it has nothing to do with the cinematic universe. Isn't that the point of a cinematic universe?
yeah,
I don't know.
typically that's the point. But you know why, right?
Because
The reason is because they got Joaquin Phoenix and they got him to play this role and they got him to do a really good job. But he would absolutely probably not sign on for enough movies long enough for them to fuck it up. You know what I mean?
I I would like to see Joaquin Phoenix with the word "damage" tattooed on his forehead.
No, I would not. So I'm glad that movie exists in its vacuum where it can be really good and it can't get shit on. Though, if Robert Pattinson Batman comes out and it's really good, then maybe I'll reverse my opinion on that and I'll be like, I wish Joker was DCU because then in theory we could get a tie-in with this movie.
Well, I mean,
But that remains to be seen.
maybe they'll really fuck it up and they'll have multiple cinematic universe, so it'll be Robert Pattinson versus Joaquin Phoenix. Because it's clearly a reboot, right? Like, Batman doesn't. Ben Affleck doesn't suddenly wake up one day and he's Robert Pattinson.
But
That's.
Anthony, that's the problem with the DCU. And the thing I hate about it the most is that because they didn't put in the time, right? Because they didn't get a banger right out the gate, right? This is the problem. Is the problem is like with the MCU, Feig had a plan, right? There was a plan here from the beginning, right? So everything was mapped out, and maybe some of those early movies aren't as good as the shit that we got later on, but everything was there was a reason, right? The DCU was like, we got to do what they're doing over there. So let's make some fucking movies. And a lot of the first ones suck balls. And now we don't really have much of a plan. And some people left and they quit, and we can't get Ben Affleck back anymore. But we still want to make these Wonder Woman movies. But she was with Ben Affleck Batman, but now we don't have him. We have Robert Pattinson. So what the fuck do we do? What's canon? What's not canon? I don't even think they fucking know anymore, which is my point. We're like, fuck,
The
we still need
great
Gal Gadot, but fuck, now we don't have Ben Affleck
the
anymore.
great failure of the DC movies is that they can't keep their cast. Like Marvel was very, very consistent with keeping the actors. Like there were very few cast replacements for Marvel. DC, they have a cast replacement every movie.
I think a big part of that though is also because of its success. You know, like I mean, people in the MCU got tired of it. Like, there's a reason why Robert Downey doesn't want to be Iron Man anymore. I don't think it's because like the movies aren't making money anymore. It's just because he didn't want to do it. Though there's rumors that he may or may not be coming back based on some leaks. But that's besides the point. The point is, like, I feel like people leaving the DCU is a product of its kind of poor reviews and lack of success in comparison. Like, that's got to be why Ben Affleck left, you know?
Yeah.
How many
What else
movies
has
was Ben Affleck in? Like two or
Yeah.
three? And I mean, Robert Downey was in the MCU for years upon years. And it's like they retain those people because the MCU is well put together and successful, and they want to be in those movies because it looks good for them.
Yeah, not every Marvel movie was great though.
I'm not saying that, but I am saying that on the whole, people like those movies. There are very few of them where people are like, "Ew, that one was stinky poo poo." You know what I mean?
And even it gets to the thing where it's like probably a failing with the model that is a cinematic universe is that yeah, you really have to get bangers because then even for future films that are technically unrelated, if you're building up to it, has that stigma and that tie-in, so it becomes
Right.
harder to source talent for, you know, it's kind of like what happened to the Dark universe where it's like, Christ, was Hollow Man the new Invisible Man like tied in with the Mummy, that terrible fucking nightmare of a
No,
movie?
no, Dark Universe died after the Mummy, didn't it? I don't think Invisible Man had anything to do with it.
But I mean, Invisible Man, it was part of that initial slate.
It was, but I don't think it's related. I haven't seen the movie.
Well, no,
Okay.
I saw it, and I could say that there's no connective tissue that I'm aware of. I
Right.
didn't see the Mummy, so maybe there is that I'm unaware of. But so like yeah, you have problems like that where like DC Universe they're still really trying to push it, but there were some stinkers, and it's hard to then like the next movie that comes out. Let's say they do like a complete different DC superhero. Like they redo Green Lantern. Like you know, if you're signing on to that movie, you're signing on to the universe, and it's like you may want to do that movie, but do you really want to be part of that universe?
Right. Do you want to then be cast alongside the actors and actresses from another movie at some point down the road that you know did not perform potentially nearly as well as even the solo one that you're going to be in? Like
Right.
there's an issue there.
Yeah.
I have to imagine that's why people like leak from the fucking DCU. I have to imagine that's why Ben Affleck quit. I mean, Ben Affleck was in the unfortunate position of being shit on long before we even saw him in the fucking suit,
True.
you know? And there are people who, even like me, who like, I don't even really hate Ben Affleck as Batman, but like before we even saw him, people were like, ew, Ben Affleck's Batman? Gross, you know? And then he was in some shitty movies and it got even worse. And now he left. And then DC wants to still be a universe, but they run into this issue of like, but we leak talent. So what the fuck do we do? How do we replace these roles but still canonize them with all the other movies? Like it's a real fucked up pit that they've dug for themselves. And I mean, like the easy way out would be to just like burn it all down and just start from scratch. But they clearly have no desire to do that because they keep making movies with the cast that remain, like Gal Gadot Wonder Woman movies.
Mm.
So they obviously have no intention of doing that.
Maybe the change to a 4-hour movie and the possibility of the Schneider cut like rebooting the series is they hope that it makes enough money to like peek up Ben Affleck's head and say, "All right, maybe I'll come back for an apocalypse movie."
And if
Yeah, you
not,
think so?
they could sell the lie of the series.
They're like, "Look, Ben Affleck, we can make money. Come
Like
back."
it's such a fucked up position for them to be in because it's like, what do you do? Now you have a Robert Pattinson Batman movie. Like, what do you do? Do you bring Robert Pattinson Batman into the canon with the other characters? How do you explain Ben Affleck leaving? Do we treat this like a Game of Thrones style recast where everyone just refers to him as Bruce Wayne and no one questions the fact that he's like 20 years younger and looks completely different? Probably not. I doubt that they would do that. So they have to explain it somehow. Or they burn it all down and recast everybody, but they're not, I don't think they're going to do that either. So like what the fuck is the play? Do they
I
do
mean,
another fucking full-blown movie with everyone in it but they just don't have Batman? So it's like a Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Flash movie but there's just no Batman and no Cyborg because of that controversy? Like what do they do?
Mm.
It's a rough one.
Sure is.
I would argue Cyborg's a little easier to replace just because he was only in the one movie, and like they don't have anything else to like they can get anyone to play that versus like Batman where it's like, all right, you have a new Batman coming out. So how does that tie into recasting of this other Batman?
It's still the same issue though. I mean, I didn't see the complete movie that has Cyborg in it, so I don't know how much they like fleshed him out in his backstory and all that shit. But like, regardless, I think it's the same issue for both characters. Like, if you're gonna replace them with a completely different guy, then either it has to be someone who looks a lot like the original and you just treat it like it's the same person, which they're clearly not doing with Batman.
Well, I mean,
Because
they could do a full blown recast and have them just like they don't have to look necessarily similar,
here's the
but
thing. You know what, Richie? Actually, I agree with you in the case of Cyborg because here's the thing: Cyborg doesn't have a solo movie coming out, so you
yeah,
could just recast Cyborg and be completely fine with it and just pretend like he's the same guy. However, you have a solo Batman movie coming out
yeah,
that's a completely
that's
different
the problem.
guy. Yeah,
Though
and
I
that's
would,
the problem.
I mean, they could easily just say that like
You could also get hyper meta with Cyborg and just
honestly, they have two
cy-
options with that. They either
Cyborg the
canonize it,
other half of his body and just claim that he
yeah,
switched it up.
yeah, but they can either canonize that Batman in that universe, which I don't think they're gonna do because he's like 20. They can just say that Batman is like just a solo one-off Batman movie, kind of like the Joker. Or check this, they have a separate universe, which is that Joker is Joaquin Phoenix Joker is that Batman's Joker, and that's a separate universe. And then they go just make movies for that.
You know what?
But
I think that that's soulless. That goes against the idea. It's also kind of amazingly brilliant because if either franchise fails, you just dive into the other one.
Yeah, it's such a fucked up spot to be in.
which is crazy because Marvel literally gave them the roadmap.
Well, I mean, dude, it fucking happened with Star Wars too. You could lead a horse to water, my man.
I feel like you know what I feel like the
Well,
problem is like you can
I don't think Star Wars suffered the same problems as the DC movies.
Well, not the same problems for sure. Suffered some goddamn problems though.
Star Wars suffered because, well, one, J.J. Abrams to bring that back, and two, it was just terrible writing.
Yeah, I we could summarize Star Wars as how the fuck do you even plan a trilogy, which isn't that ambitious. People have made trilogies before, and like not have the writers talk to each other, like separate teams, and just be like, okay, goodbye. Like, how do you do that after you spent like billions of dollars to even get the rights to do it? How do you just be like, no plan? You do this one, you do that one, you do that
Throw
one.
money at a subpar producer.
Don't fucking talk to each other.
I mean, hence comes my point of why the MCU worked out though.
Hmm.
You had one brain kind of behind the whole operation that had a plan, you know. And now granted, there's a bit of a roll of the dice there where it's like hope he's not bad at his job, and clearly the DC side of things didn't work out with Schneider and whatnot. But you know,
That's
at
that's
least having a plan.
that's just the importance of like continuity and having the original guy like this isn't the first time this has happened. Fucking see it
Yes,
clearly
bring back George
if we're gonna
Lucas.
if we're gonna stay like in the Marvel universe, like even the X-Men movies when they came out, like they jumped from like writer to writer and it suffered. You could tell. It's just I think the continuity is necessary for a coherent story or not smooth-brained I can't say that word. Uh smooth-brained individuals with less IQ and creativity.
A blind
Um
playthrough of the
that
brain.
can't look at their predecessor's work and then create something that isn't completely like, lore breaking.
Yeah, even that. Like, lore is complicated because most of these properties are ancient and have 8,000 variants to begin with. But even with like your direct sequels, you're getting details fucked up. Like, come the fuck on. Come the fuck on. That's 101.
I recently had a goblin cultist ask um what the best Star Wars saga was. And what he was asking was the original trilogy, the prequels, or the new movies. To which my response was Knights of the Old Republic. Final
Very
answer.
good. Pretty damn good, I gotta say. Except it kind of includes the MMO, so it's a little wishy-washy, but it's
Yeah,
still
we can get
solid.
rid of that one though. The ones specifically that the two.
There you go.
I have to. Oh, I have to give credit. The Last Jedi, Episode 8, was the worst, but it wasn't J.J. Abrams.
Oh wow. So you have to defend J.J. Abrams just a little bit right
No,
now?
I'm not defending him, but I am saying that this guy must have been really terrible if he couldn't take J.J. Abrams' work and then make it better. That's how bad he must be.
Oh, I see. It's a double layer dig at J.J. Abrams. Nice.
But is J.J. Abrams on fucking writing staff for the new Star Wars movies, or is he just a director?
I think he wrote part of one. I can't remember.
Screenplay by Ryan Johnson for The Last Jedi.
And for Rise of Skywalker, J.J. Abrams is credited with screenplay.
So he did some writing. He wasn't just producing.
So if you're writing and you are the director, I feel like you should have more say.
I think
Yeah,
the problem is we got to stop, and this is something I heard. I've heard like people the hack frauds from Red Letter Media say, which I agree with, is the idea that we got to stop having these people who are directing these movies also write them.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why don't we hire like I don't know, some writers,
And some directors.
and then let the people who direct like I don't know, direct but not write? How about that? Why don't we do that? How about that shift, Hollywood? I feel like that could work out.
It's even in video games. It's just people struggle to write now, I think, more. Because you got
Yeah.
people that shouldn't be writing stories.
Yeah. Totally.
I just don't understand why directors write scripts in movies. Honestly, it's very strange.
I would understand if it's like their baby. Like, I'm gonna write direct. This is my story, and I just want to make sure that like the scene is transitioned well. But when it's part of a property, yeah, you no longer really have that right. It's it's a bigger thing. It's a bigger thing than you. And even then, let's be honest, most movies that are written and directed by the same person that are pet projects also star that person, and they tend to be terrible vanity films.
Yeah. True.
Anyway, we should probably end this. I have to go to bed.
Goodbye, everyone.
What a
Goodbye.
podcast. What a long ass podcast. How long were we
Long-ass
recording for?
podcast.
It's like 7:30. It's like 4 hours.
Damn.
Yeah, 4 hours, just over by like a couple minutes.
Like just to contribute, even though we're not recording anymore. Like
Well,
You
have
can
you
clearly-
have you stopped recording
Yeah,
yet?
we didn't
or no?
really say goodbye, so really quick. But goodbye.
No, wait, hold on. Don't stop.
Goodbye.
No, hold on. Don't
Okay.
stop recording yet. Don't stop recording yet. I have something very important I have to say. Okay?
Yeah,
Have you stopped recording yet?
I have not stopped recording yet.
Okay. It's been like a month since we recorded. I still fucking hate all of you. You all suck.